What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Playmaker's Corner podcast. I'm your host for today, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V. This is episode 445, and we got week 2 of your 2025 Women's College Flag Football recap here. Mostly talking about NAIA football, but we'll talk about a couple D2s and junior colleges as well on this one, at least on the game recap a portion of this episode. We'll also talk about Playmaker of the Week, NAIA Playmaker of the Week, and then NAIA Power Rankings before we close this thing up after we talk about all the games from February 24th, I think technically February 25th to March 2nd here. A lot of games crossing both the KCAC Sun Conference Independents, and then, like I said, as well as D2s, D3s, and junior colleges. So we got a lot of teams to talk about. Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. So the first game of this week 2 happened on February 25th. That would be Tuesday, between number 22 Graceland, who was hosting their home opener, versus number 18 Cottey, at least according to our rankings from week 1. I believe this is the first time either team has played this season here. And so let's go ahead and hop into this. So in the first quarter, Shyla Barrios, sophomore quarterback for Graceland, helped lead a 6-play, 66-yard drive that ended up with her running it in for a touchdown to put them up 6-0. That was on 2nd and goal from the 1. The PAT would be knocked away, so it would stay at 6-0 with 7:41 left. At quarterback for Cottey was Amaya Karula, who began as the starter. She started off with passes to Laurencia Botts for a first down, and then a 15-yard scramble would get them across past midfield. On 2nd and 16, though, in the red zone, this drive would end with a Delaney Mondino interception, who kind of baited Karula into this pass here on the corner route. Mondino making a great play to prevent what probably would have been a touchdown if she was just a step off here, but great anticipation there. For Graceland, they would not be able to capitalize on that turnover, despite some nice passes of 26 yards to Delaney Mondino, and then a 25-yard, I think it's considered a pass, but it was basically a pitchback to Jazaria Taylor here. They would eventually get stopped on the goal line on a play that probably should have been pitched on 4th down. So unfortunate for them, but Graceland with a lot of production here on offense to start, which is a good sign. Moving on to the second quarter, Cottey would not be able to respond despite stopping them on 4th down. They would go 3 and out. Following that, though, Shyla Barrios on this Graceland offense, they would hit the field, and Barrios would go ahead and complete a 55-yard pass to Delaney Mondino, which would set them up in the red zone. She would then run it in off a 6-yard touchdown here, or for a 6-yard touchdown to make it 12-0 with 1:30 left. Cottey would not be able to do anything with the ball here, as Delaney Mondino would intercept and end their drive. Graceland would attempt a long pass deep to get something on the board, but Jonathan Tolentino of Cottey would pick that off. And so Graceland with a 12-0 lead. In the third quarter, nothing really much happened here. Cottey would be driving on a drive here in the third, but a Grace Jensen pick would end that promising drive. Graceland would then put together a drive that would bleed into the fourth quarter here, and on 1st and goal with 11:07 left in the fourth quarter, Shyla Barrios finds Grace Jensen to make it 18-0 and pretty much put this game away here. Now, right after that, I will say Amaya Karula found Tamaya Squire on a 66-yard touchdown with 10:54 left to make it 18-6, but they would not score again until the 56-second mark, where Karula would run one in to make it 18-12. Cottey would call their timeouts here with under a minute left, but Graceland would run out the clock and get their first victory of the 2025 campaign. And I want to say, I'm pretty sure this is their first victory in program history, which is huge as well. Now, players of the game, I think this one could have went to 2 players, but I think I got to give this one to Delaney Mondino here. She had 6 receptions for 180 yards. What a debut for her. And that was just on offense, because on defense, she played a great game here for them. No tackles, but had 2 interceptions that really got Cottey stalling early on here. So she played great. I thought Shyla Barrios also deserved some recognition here as well. 13 of 19, 248 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but also had 2 rushing touchdowns here. Those 2 got Graceland going here in this first game, and they played well. Now, they did kind of allow Cottey to get back into it, but not everything's going to be perfect here, and I kind of consider those more garbage touchdowns more than anything. At least down by 3 scores it is. Now, looking at Cottey's stats, Maya Kurilla, 8 of 14, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, 13 picks, did have 131 rushing yards and a touchdown. They just weren't able to finish drives here. A lot of turnovers. 3 is a lot for Cottey, and in a game where eventually they were just 1 touchdown away. I mean, 3 turnovers do matter. Let's just be honest there. Now, Tamaya Squire, 2 for 60 and a touchdown. They weren't really able to get too much here passing, it looked like. And then on defense here, Laurencia Batz led with 12 tackles. Kurilla right there with 7, though. And then a couple pass breakups. It looks like Tamaya Squire also had an interception for them, but not enough to beat Graceland. Well, it was a 1-score game, 18-12. I mean, like I said, this one did not really feel that close throughout most of this game here. Graceland looking to change some minds here. I mean, they already have, moving forward, as they get their first win in program history and of the 2025 campaign over Cottey, 18-12. Moving on here, we have a game between St. Mary and Pratt Community College, University of St. Mary and Pratt Community College, on February 26th. Tuesday here, and this really wasn't that close of a game here. NAIA Hooks, by the way, starting for St. Mary as a senior, and she was on fire. She would get them on the board on the first play in the second quarter. It would be a slant to Brooklyn Hill, who would go ahead and take it to the house here, so that would make it 6-0. Not long after that, NAIA Hooks would complete a long touchdown pass in the second to put them up 12-0. And then by the third quarter, she had at least 3 touchdown passes here. So this one was pretty much over. Pratt would have 1 touchdown. Shemaya Singletary would have a touchdown reception on a drag route that went 50-plus yards in the second. But this one, it was over here. The University of St. Mary winning 33-6 over Pratt to start the season. Like I said, pretty dominating game. I would say the player of this game would have to be NAIA Hooks. She was on it. She looked really sharp in this game, throwing dots all over the field, and this offense actually looked pretty good here. At least in my opinion, they looked pretty smooth to start. So a lot of positivity for the University of St. Mary here as they start 1-0 for this season. For Pratt Community College, I want to say this was also their first game here. And in this game, yes, it was their first game of the 2025 season, where unfortunately they lose to St. Mary 33-6 here. Their next game will be March 8th against Kansas Wesleyan's dev team, their developmental team here. So that'll be an interesting one here. And then for St. Mary, their next game will be against Cottey on Saturday, which should be a very interesting game, especially considering Cottey lost to Graceland. So we'll see what happens. But St. Mary, they go ahead and win 33-6. All right, now this was the first game, I believe, on the 26th Wednesday. We had number 3 Thomas versus number 13 Reinhardt. Reinhardt going into this one actually tied at 13. And this really wasn't that close of a game here. Thomas would actually end up beating Reinhardt 59-0. I'd watch a little bit of this game, but like I said, not close. I mean, Thomas was up 13-0 to start here, and it was a little bit interesting, I will say that. So Alexa Wilson would start at quarterback here, and she would give them the early lead here with a, looks like 65-yard pass to Nakara Brown. And then it kind of looked like she got benched for the freshman Keelan Coleman, who would hop in and score a number of touchdowns. Alexa Wilson would get back in the fourth quarter and score another touchdown. So that's interesting. I thought originally maybe Alexa Wilson scored those two in the first here because the stream wasn't up in the first. But it looks like she did get another touchdown in the fourth, and that was in fact her. So very interesting. Maybe something to keep in mind, maybe not. Don't exactly know what the whole context of that situation was, but also maybe it just didn't matter. Thomas, they beat Reinhardt, like I said, 59-0. This wasn't a close game. This would have probably been a good game to get their freshman quarterback in there and get some reps here, some live reps. And Keelan Coleman, she did well, 15 of 21, 205 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks here, which was huge, and they were just firing. Alexa Wilson also did well, though, 6 of 921 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, got that first touchdown, and then it looks like she was pulled here and then put back in the fourth. So there's that. Holly Neer still played her usual role, 4 of 5 for 54 yards and a touchdown there. As far as receiving goes, Giselle Jones led with 4 receptions for 57 yards, but Zoe Jackson and Destiny Lockett each had 2 touchdowns. Jackson 4 for 49, Lockett 6 for 44, who's, by the way, been dominant these last couple weeks here. And then Madison Boswell and Kendall I think it's April, also had receiving touchdowns there. On defense for Thomas, Janae Scott led with 6 tackles, also 2 interceptions, getting the party started here pretty early on. Destiny Lockett with 5 tackles here, tied with Kiana Akol on defense, and then Diva Jones with a sack here. Only 1 sack in this game, which is a little interesting. For Reinhardt, let's go ahead and look at their stats here. They played 2 different quarterbacks, which is interesting. And I don't really feel like it was really a 2 quarterback system, but it was Kaylee Kent and Isabella DePiece. Kaylee Kent, 12 of 23, 73 yards, 2 picks. Isabella DePiece, 7 for 16, 52, and an interception. Excuse me if I'm saying that last name wrong, by the way. As far as receiving goes, 6 of 30 for Anaya Showers, and then Nicole Arus, 5 for 25. Just not really productive. Was watching this game, and I mean, this Thomas defense, gotta give them credit. They're really tough, right? They're gonna take away looks, but just not getting a lot of productivity from the offense there. For Reinhardt's defense, Alacock led with 4, Rebecca Jenkins with 4 tackles, 1 sack from Tiffany Johnson, no interceptions. Tough go for Reinhardt here as they start the season 0-1. Thomas, on the other hand, 4-0, and they have allowed 1 touchdown in these 4 games. They play Milligan here next week on March 13th, as well as Pasco Community College next week then as well. But I mean, they're going to continue to roll, right? This is a very dominant Thomas team, and they are putting up numbers, and you got to respect that. So there you go, Thomas. They go ahead and take care of Reinhardt 59-0. All right, now I want to say this was the last game from Wednesday the 26th, but we have Bethel in their season opener versus Kansas Wesleyan. It says JV, but it's their developmental team here, which is very interesting here. And, you know, for Bethel, new start, new team, but they just could not really get anything going against this KW JV team. They lost 47-7 here. Their 1 score came really late in the fourth quarter with 38 seconds left here. So this will pretty much be just a box score recap. Let's start with KW's JV team, their dev team here. Emily Buell here. Buell? I'm pretty sure it's Buell. 16 of 24, 191 yards, 3 touchdowns. Angelina Briano, 7 of 9, 106 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lauren Cardwell had 1 14-yard reception there. As far as catching goes, Ashley Hawthorne, 5 for 98 and 2 touchdowns. Lauren Cardwell, 5 for 58 and a touchdown. And then Lila Casillian, 6 for 43 and 2 touchdowns. Alexis Lucas, also with a 35-yard receiving touchdown. On defense for KW here, Ancian Rabano, 6 tackles here. Casillian with 4. No sacks in this one. And then it looks like Casillian also had a big interception in this one. So there you go there. For Bethel, on the other hand, some struggles here. To be fair, though, this K-Dub JV team, developmental team, is still very good. A lot of these players, if they haven't got playing time this season or as much this season or last season, they did a couple of seasons ago. So, I mean, it's a good way to keep your players sharp. But this is still a pretty good team in comparison. They're just deep like that. But for Bethel, they struggled. Kendall Longman, 9 of 25, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Did have 37 rushing yards here, but through the air, not much production going for them. Xavier Mann, 2 for 61. Amber Clausen, 1 26-yard reception. Tatiana McCullum, 3 for 9, and that lone touchdown there. But not much going on. On defense for Bethel, Amber Clausen led with 4, and then they had no sacks, no picks. Definitely a little concerning if you are Bethel here. I mean, like I said, still a pretty good team over there, but this is a tough loss to take. The first real game, though, will be on Saturday against Graceland. We will see if that will be any different, but K-Dub's developmental team, goes ahead and defeats Bethel 47-7.
Howdy, folks. It is Kodey Stoffer here with the Playmakers Corner podcast, covering some flag football here, and we had a marquee matchup here within the Sun Conference. That was Warner against Keiser here. According to our power rankings here at PMC, it was number 2, Keiser specifically, against number 5, Warner. This was a huge matchup and a true test. Obviously, Keiser coming off the fiery start that they had, obliterating FMU in their prior game, and Warner coming off a very tough, close loss to St. Thomas. So, let's see how this shakes out here. Warner is going to win the toss here. By the way, this game took place on February 27th, 2025. Just so everybody is in the loop on that. That was Thursday, by the way. So, anyhow, Warner is going to defer after winning the coin toss, and Keiser will start on offense. And so on offense here, you got Young getting a quick hitter to Foster left that's pulled very quickly for basically no gain. There's then a quick pass to Caprio after the snap that gets to the 19, and they're staring down 3rd and 1. They come in a bit more tight, and they take a shot left, but it is broken up by number 14 on Warner, Andrea Castillo here. And on 4th and 1, Keiser, staying aggressive, is going to go for it on their opening drive in their own red zone. They're going to fire left to Cavallati, who narrowly picks up the first down. So the gamble pays off early, and they get to keep rolling here. Now, following that is 1st and 16 now until midfield, and there's a quick pass right that is pulled very fast by Vincenzini here. But then a strike right to Griffin picks up a first down past midfield, marched down at the 33-yard line heading in. A quick fire to Caprio only picks up 3, but then they line up in their 2 quarterback formation, but pass back over the middle to Caprio to set up 3rd and 4. Now on 3rd down here, Young looks left and then comes back to Clam right, who gets into the red zone for a first down. The next play is going to be a pass that is broken up by Brusmeyer here, but following that, a quick pass attempt to Foster is attempted, and Lauren Clark this time breaks it up, and now they're staring down 3rd and goal from the 17-yard line. Haley Young buys time on 3rd down here and dumps off to Caprio, who gets all the way to the 8-yard line before she is stopped, setting up a very manageable 4th and goal from the 8 on this long drive that has ate up 7 minutes. You heard that right, folks. 7 minutes on this drive so far, and they are finally on 4th and goal here. But fast pressure forces a check down and an easy flagpole for Lauren Clark that forces a turnover on downs. And this 7-minute marathon comes to an end without any points. So the Warner offense hops out after the defense just clutched it up, but will start deep in their own territory on their 7-yard line with about 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. They open up with a quick throw right, Catherine Hutchinson letting it fly for a gain of 9. Hutchinson then throws right again, caught by Finley, who gets a first down. Hutchinson is throwing right, but they still have 2 quarterbacks lined up here. They then have a double pass where Hutchinson goes back to Macagnano here, but Katarina's attempt is incomplete. Following another attempt from Macagnano that is incomplete. Sorry, I just butchered that. I know I did. But we're moving on. It is now 3rd and 18. Now, it's going to be a double pass once again, but with the Emma Wagenman rush here, it is forced and the pass will fall incomplete, and Warner will have to punt. Keiser will then start this next drive at their own 24-yard line with 30 seconds left in the first quarter. There's going to be a quick pass left to Foster, who runs ahead to the 32-yard line, so a gain of 8. And then following that, a pass left to Caprio passes midfield to end the first quarter. Starting the second quarter here, Young is going to get rushed by Torero Abrego here, and the pressure forces an incompletion. After a quick pass right to Griffin lands them at the 30, they are facing 3rd and 10, where there's a high snap that is barely corralled in by Young here, who does find Brennan Ramirez all the way to the 25-yard line for a 5-yard 4th down attempt here, and in comes Perry for the rush on 4th down. Keiser lines up 3 receivers to the right, and Young throws a dangerous but match-up winning pass as Ashley Clam rips it in for a big first down into the red zone, absolutely just mossing the defender and showing why she is one of the best in the entire country. Now, on this first play in the red zone, they're on the 14-yard line, and they have the same formation as the last one, and they take a shot deep left to Ramirez, who reels in an absolute dime from Haley Young for the score here. And while the PAT is no good, thanks to Jade Mazziota here, Keiser is still leading 6-0 with 9 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second quarter. So unlike their last drive that was a marathon, this one was explosive fireworks from the get-go, and they get down and score fast. Now, Warner on this next drive is going to have Marrero in as their second quarterback along with Hutchinson. And Marrero gets the snap and flips it outright past the line of scrimmage to Finley, who creeps ahead for the first down to the 20-yard line. They still got that look with Marrero and Hutchinson gets it and dumps it off to Finley, whose flag is quickly pulled by Cavallati. Here, they get the 2-quarterback look, and Wagenman's pressure here forces an incompletion regardless. Now, on the next play, Hutchinson is rolling left and drops an absolute dime in between 4 defenders to Finley all the way to the 24-yard line, flipping field positions here and giving Warner a chance here. Now, on the very next play here, Hutchinson is going to pass to Finley that is stopped a yard shy of the red zone. And on 2nd and 1, they got 3 receivers to the right, 2 quarterbacks. They snap it to Hutchinson, who throws back to Marrero, whose pass is nearly picked off by Kennedy Foster, almost killing the drive. Now on 3rd and 1 here, we got a quick pass right from Hutch to Finley for a first down inside of the 10 with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. A pass right to Finley again, but this time Clam gets her hand in there and forces an incompletion. So Finley leading in targets, receptions, and yards, having a huge first half here. Not a lot of noise from a lot of the other Warner skill players here. But on this next play here, Warner lines up with 3 receivers left, and the snap is to Marrero, who fires it in, but the flag is pulled almost immediately by Cavallati, and now the Royals here are staring down 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. And they take a timeout with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first half. Now on this next play, Hutchinson steps up to show shadow block, and Keiser brings 2 rushers in, Wagenman and Clam, and Marrero overthrows amidst the pressure here. And back-to-back timeouts from Keiser and Warner leaves 2:27 on the clock as Warner comes out 4th and goal with 3 receivers out left. Hutchinson ready to block. Marrero is in the deep shotgun. They get the snap here. Finley's on an island to the right, and Marrero rolls left, comes back a little right, and rifles in a pass over the middle that is caught by Finley here. Warner scores with 2:21 left in the first half here. Warner takes a timeout before the PAT, but it is stopped nonetheless, and it is a tie game here, 6-6, almost at the 2-minute warning. Now Keiser comes out, and Haley Young fires out left to Ramirez for a first down to the 21-yard line. Young gets another snap off and fires out to Chloe Griffin at the 30 with the 2-minute warning. The ball on the 29, actually, and on this very next play after the 2-minute warning, Young gets sacked by number 17, Torero Abrego here, and that is a huge, huge loss here that results in an absolute Abrego, sorry, I got too excited because the sack was such a big play here, but this huge loss makes it 3rd and 20, and the clock is winding down. Now with 3 receivers to the left, Young is going to dump off to Clam for a gain of 8, and it's 4th and 12, and they'll wind down the clock and punt. Warner will have the ball on their own 32-yard line with 31 seconds to go. but nothing really happens here, and we head into halftime tied 6-6, and Warner getting the ball here. Warner playing a very disciplined game on defense, being very, very patient. Keiser here, I think they're still doing a lot of the right things, not scoring on that 7 to 8 minute drive at the beginning, definitely stings a little bit. And for Warner here, they're getting the velocity that Marrero brings to the table, obviously, that got them on the board. And Hutchinson is making the correct throws here, with Finley making a big impact. But like I said, we'll see how that goes in the second half, since not many other players are really involved. So Warner to start here, and they snap to Hutchinson, who passes right to Finley, who's just a yard shy of the first down. The second play goes for nada, so it is 3rd and 1. And we snap to Marrero, who finds number 18, Trinity Kieran, here for a first down at the 25-yard line. The snap to Marrero here is going to cause a huge panic here, as Samaya Bryant's rush along with Wagaman forces an incompletion here, completely overwhelming the QB. Now on 3rd and 15, Keiser is showing 2 rushers, and they blitz both, and Marrero blocks for Hutchinson, who passes to Finley ahead to the 32-yard line here. Pretty good gain, only need 8 yards for a first down, but ultimately they'll decide to punt and see if they can play the field position game. This doesn't really work out great, as the field just kind of flips in the complete opposite way. Keiser has the ball on their own 33-yard line, so not the best flip of field position, if you would. They line up in a 2-quarterback lineup here, where they do a double pass to Clam, who gets ahead to the 38-yard line. On 2nd and 2, they show 2 QBs again, passing to Clam right ahead past midfield, but the flag is pulled by Vincenzini at Warner's 36-yard line. So they collect a first down here. Now with 2 quarterbacks here, they have a big stack to the right, and they do a double pass with Young going to Valentina Finetti here, but Vincenzini swarms for the sack, forcing Keiser back on their own side of the field. So Vincenzini, like I said, not making a ton of noise on offense, but bringing the noise on the defensive side of the ball for a huge flagpole for loss here. Now, on 2nd and 24 here, it is going to be a pass left to Janasia Wilson behind Young, who lobs one up and down the left sideline for Foster, who reels in a contested catch and maybe bobbles it towards the ground, but it is marked a catch past the midway point of the field. The next play is a snap to Wilson with a fake jet handoff to Young, who gets the swing pass amidst the pressure, but Young then throws a bit of a hospital pass here to Clam, who gets injured on the play, and a flag on the play pushes Keiser ahead to the 20-yard line for a 1st and goal setup. So tough penalty here for Warner here, that is now having to play some red zone defense. The next play is a pass that gains 7 yards, and 2nd and 13 with 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter brings up a snap to Wilson here, who runs left and eventually gets her flag pulled by Clark and sets up 3rd and 9 for Keiser here. Now, Young is going to get the snap here, but the quick pressure from Perry leads to an incomplete pass here. Now, it is 4th down. Clam is back on the field, which is always good to see. Now, obviously, it is 4th down here, and Keiser is going to pass it quickly to Caprio, who is heading and racing and barreling towards the right pylon and extends, but is stopped just short at the 1-yard line. Anna Vincenzini with the clutch flagpole here, and now Warner with the ball at their own 1. The ball on their own 1-yard line with 2 minutes and 16 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Now, Marrero is going to throw left quickly to Vincenzini for her first catch of the game, all the way to the 8-yard line, and get some breathing room. Apparently, the stat was Finley had 7 receptions in the first half, so seeing if we can get some of their other playmakers involved seems to be the play here for the Warner offense and for the coaching staff. Hutchinson gets the next one and throws right, but it is incomplete. And on 3rd and 12, Hutchinson is going to get the snap and just loses the ball. It is ruled incomplete amidst heavy pressure from Emma Wagenman, and Warner will have to punt. Now, Keiser will start on the 30, going in and head into the 4th quarter, still tied 6-6. Now, Young starts off deep in the shotgun, and there's a quick pass to Wilson a little ahead, but hits her hands and falls incomplete. Young whips a pass left to Brenna Ramirez to the 21-yard line, and on 3rd and 1, they call a jet sweep to Griffin left, who winds up and passes to Caprio for a first down inside of the 10-yard line. Now on the 9-yard line here, there's going to be a snap to Young, who checks down to Wilson, who walks into the end zone for the score here, And following Young finding Clam for the PAT, Keiser now leads 13-6 with 9:48 to go in the final frame here. It's Warner ball now down by 7 here, and they snap it to Hutchinson here, who finds number 18, Trinity Kieran, again ahead for a few yards, setting up 2nd and 4. The next snap is to Hutchinson as well, who finds Bunting right, but a flag on Keiser is going to push the gain all the way ahead to the 29-yard line with only 11 yards to go to midfield. Hutchinson gets the snap again, but passes back to Marrero, whose pass is incomplete. On 2nd and 11, the snap is to Hutchinson, who passes right to Mazziata here for a decent gain. Marrero ends up taking off on the next play as she gets the ball and gains 10 yards, but is still shy, setting up 4th and 1 with a huge flagpole from Kennedy Foster. Now on the next play here, 4th and 1, it is a snap to Hutchinson, who has to decide quick with a fierce Wagaman and Bryant pass rush, and the pass is a little bit behind Finley, who snags it in and ahead for the first down past midfield. Ashley Clam on the flagpole here, but it's still good enough for a first down. It is now 1st and 18, and Warner on this first down lines up with 3 receivers right, and Hutchinson passes back to Marrero, who makes a defender miss, but unfortunately laterals it back, where it keeps the gain to only 2 yards. So just trying to do a little too much here, trying to make a play, but sometimes you just got to take the yards that the defense gives you initially. Now on the next play, Hutchinson gets the snap, throws back to Marrero, who throws deep into double coverage, unfortunately, and Kennedy Foster makes for an interception here. Keiser is now in control on their own 18-yard line and 5 minutes to go, trying to bleed this clock here. Now Young gets the snap and runs ahead and shovels up to Ramirez here, coming back across the field left to right and gains all the way to the 30-yard line. So starting off with a big first down and only leaving 10 yards until the next first down at midfield. And they're going to close that distance a little bit here as Young finds Janasia Wilson again, who dips ahead to the 38-yard line. On 2nd and 2, Young finds Caprio right ahead past midfield for a critical first down that will take us down to 3 minutes before the next snap. This next snap is going to be a quick slant pass to Ramirez, who doesn't quite get the lateral to Caprio on this one. Warner burns a timeout with 2 minutes and 29 seconds left in the game. And on 2nd and 17, Young runs left with a similar design on the Ramirez play, but just keeps it herself all the way to the 29-yard line, and that will bring the clock down to the 2-minute warning. After the 2-minute warning, there is a pass to Ramirez left that is ruled out of bounds and brings up 4th and 9 with a stopped clock here. And so with 1:56 here with the clock stopped, Keiser calls a timeout and tries to draw something up to put this game away here. They come out here in the shotgun, Ramirez left here at the bottom of your screen, and she is going to be the primary target here as the pass from Young to Ramirez is right at the first down here. Young showing great anticipation and timing, and now the clock is just burning away with the 1st and 19 heading in. Young throws right to Wilson, and Warner is going to burn a timeout after that. Now with 1:21 left on the clock, Keiser's on the 18-yard line, and Wilson is in the shotgun here. Now Cavallati is the fake handoff as it gets to Wilson, and they pitch back to Clam, who accidentally runs out of bounds here. And that unfortunately brings up 3rd and goal from the 18, and the clock is stopped at 1:14. Warner still has a timeout here, but on 3rd and goal here, the snap is to Young, who evades the rusher not once, but twice, and then steps up for the dagger. Deep right to Chloe Griffin here. 1:07 left in the game, putting Keiser up 19-6. And after a Kennedy Foster reception for the PAT, it is 20-6 here, and it's Warner ball with 1 minute and 7 seconds left here. Now, trying to play for a little bit of pride here, this first play is a double pass that is a deep shot with Foster and Clam in the neighborhood, but the ball gets popped up and bobbled by 3 different players and eventually lands in the hands of Foster to officially put this game away. So that was the final score here. Keiser beats Warner 20-6 with, just a Warner offense that kind of went really stagnant in the second half, and with a Keiser attack that actually capitalized on some very long drives. Keiser showing great ball control, time management, clock management, whatever you want to call it. They were doing everything that they needed to do, and I really feel like this score doesn't quite show how not close I felt that this game kind of was. Now, don't get me wrong, Warner played a fantastic game, but there's just something about the inconsistencies of who's been in at quarterback. Seeing 3 different quarterbacks kind of do 3 different things over the course of a game, it's just kind of a tough look here. And yeah, it's hard to feel more confident about their chances in this game. unless they just get a few turnovers. But the Keiser offense was really just firing on all gears. So pretty hard for that to be overcome. Now, looking through some stats on the day, you had Katarina Macagnano here go 0 of 4 and throw an interception here. Jenna Marrero, 5 of 10 for 27 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception though, but also tacking on 14 yards of rushing. And then Catherine Hutchinson, 13 of 19, 111 yards here. But Jessica Finley really keeping them in this game on offense. 10 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown here. Defensively, Anna Vincenzini and Jade Mazziota here with 7 flag pulls apiece here. Lauren Clark with 6, as well as a pass breakup here for some of their more notable performances. And then on the Keiser side of things, I mean, just another vintage Haley Young performance. 31 of 38, a hat trick of touchdowns for 231 yards. Finding Sophia Caprio the most, 9 receptions, 69 yards. Brenna Ramirez, 7 times for 57 yards and a score. Chloe Griffin, 4 times for 53 yards and a score. And then Ashley Clam, 5 times for 37 yards. And then obviously Janasia Wilson, who walks in that one play here. Janasia Wilson also 2 of 2 for 25 yards on the day. They had 4 different players complete a pass over the course of this day here. And then defensively, I mean, obviously Kennedy Foster, 2 interceptions. That's always going to end up in a very good day here. Then with Cavalotti and Clam and Villarreal leading the way in flag pulls. So those were the box score stats here. Obviously, Keiser advances here and is still undefeated. Be sure to listen for more recaps to see how the rest of the week went for Keiser and Warner and how those games went and how we think they stack up in the power rankings.
All right, now talking about the other game that happened on Thursday, the 27th, we had number 9 Baker versus number 13 William Woods. Baker with their home opener here had a rough go last week, against a good comp, but went 0-3. Looking to bounce back against first-year William Woods, who, like I said, first-year program. This was the first game of their season here. And, it wasn't really close. I did, take notes and covered the majority of this game. But the stream wasn't up for pretty much the entire first quarter. I will say what I saw and what happened, though. Baker just scored right when the stream worked. So it was 6-0 with 11:54 right at the start of the second. William Woods, they would have a pretty solid, it looked like a pretty solid drive before Mackenzie Hicks would throw it deep here. And it looks like it was going to be a big completion for a big first down to put them past midfield. But Kaylee Phillips just kind of tears that one away for a nice interception here. And so Baker would take over with the 1st and 19 past midfield with 10:05 after initial incompletion thanks to some pressure. On second down, Tara Lorente gets a snap, rolls out left, and goes deep to Mahogany Simmons and finds her with a dot on the money to the house. Simmons with an all hands over the shoulder catch here to make it 12 here. On the PAT, Lorente rolls left and then pitches it forward to Gabriela Zabaleta to make it 13-0. For William Woods, they would get the ball back here, but after a nice first down thrown to Natalia Hernandez de Leon from Mackenzie Hicks, they would eventually stall out here thanks to some drops here and some overthrows as well. And so Baker, they take over with 6:46 left. 1st and 10 approaching midfield. Let's go ahead and skip forward just a little bit. They would find themselves in the red zone thanks to a direct snap to Sanaya Waller, who would make it 1st and 12 in the red zone. Following that, 1st down, Lorente scrambles and makes a nasty cut upfield trying to split the defenders and get in the red zone, but would be marked short here, so 2nd and 1. Baker calls a timeout with 2:10 left here. On 2nd down here, Lorente throws a short pass, but Olivia Menard gets a nice deflection. On 3rd, it's a drop. And then on 4th down, they call a timeout at 1:47. But then on 4th down, Lorente gets a snap, avoids the double rush, splitting the rushers here, and slices into the end zone to make it a 3-score game, 19-0 here. And then that would pretty much be it to end this game. I will say Baker did get a nice red zone trip here right at the end of this half here. Addie Chilik with a nice interception would give them a chance, but she would actually be stopped short on a 4th and 1 pass here, and that would be a turnover on downs. And that kind of felt like the turning point here. Baker, they will get the ball back eventually after William Woods, another stalled drive and score, thanks to a Lorente slant to Kaylee Phillips to make it 25-0, and then she would run it in on the PAT to make it 26-0. As Baker wins their home opener 39-0, a dominant win for them and a nice bounce back win. Let's talk about Baker first. First off, playmaker of the game, Tara Lorente. She bounced back with a great game here, 11 of 23, 161 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, but most importantly, 96 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. She got it done both through the air and on the ground, doing a good job there. As far as receiving goes here, could not see, I don't know why it says team instead of a player name, with 2 for 42 and a touchdown, but right below her, Zabaleta, 2 for 34 here. Jalen Harris would catch a touchdown, Faith Phillips with a touchdown, Kaylee Phillips with a touchdown there. As far as defense goes, Kaylee Phillips with 2 interceptions, including that nice one in the second quarter where she kind of just ripped away a would-be reception, and then Faith Phillips with an interception as well. Defensively, it looks like Destiny Martinez had 7 tackles, which was big in this one, and then Melanie Osmar right behind him with 3 tackles. For William Woods, I was watching the game. They had some promising drives here. They just could not finish. I mean, this is a team that's playing another squad who played 3 games on Saturday against the best of the best in the KCAC. And so they were not rusty at all. In fact, if anything, going into this game, this is probably the most fine-tuned they would be going into a game, considering how many games they played. For William Woods, them being a first-year program, having so many freshmen, this being their first game on the road, it's just tough, it's just tough to play in a game like this one. And despite having some bright spots here, just could not quite get things going, specifically on offense. Defensively, I mean, this is a tough Baker team to stop. They are very creative over there, got a bunch of different threats, especially with Lorente playing quarterback. Sanaya Waller could play a little bit more of that utility quarterback, wide receiver, running back type role, and that's just hard to guard, especially against a team that is not super experienced playing together on defense here. But the stats for William Woods: Mackenzie Hicks at quarterback, 16 of 32, 119 yards, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Yvonne, or I think it's Evany Russell, had 1 6-yard completion. And then the lead receiver was Maddie Jones, by the way, out of Highlands Range, Colorado. Shout out Mountain Vista. 7 for 47. She had some nice receptions, especially at the end of that second there, to put them in the red zone and in a position to score. Then you also had Addie Chilik here, 5 for 46. Who had a pretty good game as well. And then those were the leaders. Natalia Hernandez de Leon had 4 receptions for 27 yards there. And then on defense for them, Chilik led with 9 tackles here. Evany Brussel, I want to say, had 6 tackles. Chilik also, by the way, with her first interception in her career, and the first one in William Woods history. It was a good one on a very poor decision from Sanaya Waller, trying to throw it over the middle, up by a couple scores in the second, so it kind of didn't matter, but still a nice interception from her there, so that's pretty big. And then I don't believe any sacks from this team. And so William Woods, I mean, they're just kind of getting started here. I didn't think they had a horrible debut. They did have some production on offense, but against a team like Baker, that's kind of a team you want to get into a shootout, especially with all the options that you have. At least that's your best chance of winning, is getting into a shootout with them. But that requires scoring and finishing drives. They got close a couple of times, but just could not quite get it done. And it doesn't get easier, as their next 2 games are against the top teams in the KCAC and Kansas Wesleyan on Sunday, and then Ottawa next Saturday. So that's tough. And then it eases up with Graceland, Midland, Southwestern, Bethel, Campbellsville, right? But those are tough teams to play. And so we'll see what happens with William Woods here. I don't really expect them to beat an experienced team. Nevertheless, national championship teams in Ottawa. And then you also have Kansas Wesleyan, who's a very experienced team over there. But, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's going to be lessons to take away from it, and I'm sure it'll make them better down the stretch. But for now, Baker takes care of them, bouncing back 39-0.
What is good, y'all? This is Gino with the Playmaker's Corner podcast, and it is time to recap some Sun Conference football from this past weekend. We got the Keiser Seahawks facing off against the St. Thomas Bobcats. These are two perennial playoff teams, with Keiser falling in the finals last year, and they are just as exciting of a team this year. Whereas St. Thomas has a ton of great returning playmakers. They got a new QB, some great receivers, and obviously they always have a great defense. So this one should definitely be a good one. And with that all being said, let's not waste any more time and jump right into this recap. It will be St. Thomas ball here, 1st and 6 to start off this game. On first down, a short crosser goes to the sophomore receiver, Leah Cruz, from the senior QB, Brooke Bogatz, and that makes it 2nd and 3. On second down, a quick pass goes to Rihanna Baker, and that makes it 1st and 15 here. After an incompletion on a bubble screen on first down, a short crosser goes to Cameron Campbell for 4 yards. And then on 3rd and 11, Brooke Bogatz keeps it for 6 yards to make it 4th and 5 near midfield as St. Thomas prepares to go for it here. On 4th and 5, Leah Cruz is open deep as Brooke Bogatz hits her in stride over the top of the Keiser defense for the touchdown. St. Thomas leads now 6-0 with 8:43 left here in the first quarter. And then a short crosser goes to Tashumba Washington, and that makes it 7-0 here as St. Thomas wastes absolutely no time to take a 7-0 lead. It will be 1st and 6 for Keiser following that touchdown. On first down, a beautiful pass from the QB, Haley Young, in a tight window to the senior, Kennedy Foster, as Foster takes that for a big-time first down across midfield. It will be 1st and 19 here for the Seahawks. On first down, Lanaya Leone nearly gets a sack, and she forces an incompletion there. On 2nd and 19, Haley Young chucks a bomb down the sideline to Chloe Griffin, who stays in bounds and streaks down the sideline for the Seahawks touchdown. They immediately answer back as Haley Young hits Ashley Clam on the extra point, and that makes it 7-7 with 7:11 left here in the first quarter. It will be 1st and 6 for St. Thomas following that touchdown from Keiser. After an incomplete pass on first down, Brooke Bogatz finds Rihanna Baker on a post in stride as she goes for a nice gain and first down. On 1st and 11, a short pass over the middle goes to Kaylee Miller, but she is stopped right away by Adriana Cavallati. On 2nd and 7, there is a false start to make it 2nd and 12. And on 2nd and 12, a short crosser to Cameron Campbell gets the Bobcats near midfield. On 3rd and 4, Bogatz and Kaylee Miller connect over the middle for the first down across midfield here. 1st and 16 now for the Bobcats. A sidearm throw to Leah Cruz goes for 3 yards. And then Emma Wagenman gets good pressure, but Brooke Bogatz is able to find Kaylee Miller while fading to her left to make it 3rd and 11. On 3rd and long, Brooke Bogatz reaches back, and her deep pass is picked off by Kennedy Foster. That makes it 1st and 6 for Keiser in their own territory with 2:10 left here in the first quarter. We got some 2 QB action here on first down as Haley Young finds Valentina Finetti, who hits Kennedy Foster for a first down. On 1st and 13, a quick pass to Brenna Ramirez gets Keiser near midfield. On 2nd and 4, a short crosser to Adriana Cavallati, who nearly breaks loose for the touchdown, but she instead just gets them a first down across midfield. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. This one is all knotted up 7-7. It will be 1st and 10 here for Keiser to start off the second quarter. On 1st and 10, Kennedy Foster is looking for a receiver, and she finds one to get Keiser near the red zone. On 2nd and 1, Haley Young fires it down the sideline, and Brenna Ramirez makes the grab for a Seahawk touchdown as they grab a 13-7 lead with 11:15 left here in the first half. And then Kennedy Foster made a diving grab there on the extra point as the Seahawks grab a 14-7 lead here over St. Thomas. It will be 1st and 6 here for the Bobcats following that touchdown from Keiser. Brooke Bogats is flushed out left here on 1st down, but she finds Leah Cruz for the 1st down. On 1st and 20, a dangerous pass is incomplete, and then Leah Cruz makes a tough grab for a 6-yard gain. On 3rd and 14, Bogats and Cameron Campbell connect to get the Bobcats near midfield. It will be 4th and 1 here. On 4th and 1, Samaya Bryant is hot on the heels of Brooke Bogats, who tries to pitch it forward to get the 1st down, but that falls incomplete, and that will be a turnover on downs here. It will be 1st and 19 for Keiser in St. Thomas territory with 8:27 left in the first half. A pass back to Valentina Finetti, who has a wide open Kennedy Foster to put Keiser near the red zone. On 2nd and 7, Maya Salas breaks up a pass over the middle, and a quick pass to Brenna Ramirez on the next play makes it 4th and 1. On 4th and short, Haley Young fires a bomb to the end zone, but it is picked off by Nandi Ramasar with 5:53 left here in the second quarter. St. Thomas gets the ball right back after that huge play from Ramasar. It will be 1st and 11 for St. Thomas after that big-time interception. On 1st down, Brooke Bogat steps up and hits a wide-open Leah Cruz, who goes deep into Keiser territory for a huge 1st down. On 1st and 8, a pass over the middle is dropped, and then a false start makes it 2nd and 13. And after an incomplete pass here on 3rd and 13, Bogats fakes a pass, and Samaya Bryant gets the sack. It is 4th and 21, and that will force St. Thomas to punt here after initially being deep into Keiser territory. It is 1st and 7 for Keiser deep into their own territory with 1:50 left here in the first half following a punt as St. Thomas calls timeout. On 1st down, Sophia Caprio makes a tough grab over the middle to make it 2nd and 2. After a Valentina Finetti keeper goes for a yard, it will be 3rd and 1. And a pitch goes to Sophia Caprio as she goes for a big-time 1st down and a nice gain here to make it 1st and 5 near midfield. On 1st and 5, Haley Young pitches it to the freshman halfback Janasia Wilson, who makes 2 defenders miss and goes a long way down the sideline. It will be 1st and 14 in the red zone for Keiser as St. Thomas calls timeout with 39 seconds left here in the first half. Coming out of the timeout, a short crosser goes to Sophia Caprio, who is dominating on this drive to make it 2nd and 8. And it's Caprio again here on the next play as she makes a jumping grab, but Veronica McBride comes in and makes a clutch flag pull to force Keiser to call a timeout. It will be 3rd and 4 with 16 seconds left here. Coming out of the timeout, Nandi Ramazar bats the ball down on the rush to make it 4th and 4 with 14 seconds left as Keiser calls another timeout here. Coming out of the timeout, Haley Young finds Kennedy Foster in a very tight window on 4th down, and that gets the Seahawks yet another touchdown. The extra point was no good, but the Seahawks still take a 20-7 lead here with 9 seconds left in the first half, and the Seahawks will have the ball to start off the second half, so that is a potentially back-breaking score there. But it is 20-7. Keiser is leading St. Thomas as we head into halftime. It will be Keiser ball here, 1st and 6 to start off the second half. A quick pitch to Sophia Caprio makes it 2nd and 1, and then Janasia Wilson takes the check down a long way as she wiggles her way across midfield, making several defenders miss on that play. She is going to be a big-time playmaker for the Seahawks with her unbelievable ability to avoid flag pulls. On 1st and 19, Sophia Caprio makes a grab on a crosser to make it 2nd and 10, and then another check down to Janasia Wilson, who is so hard to take down as she gets Keiser yet another 1st down in the red zone. What a game from the freshman. On 1st and 19, another check down to Wilson, but Nandi Ramazar comes in with a diving flag pull for no gain there. Ramasar is definitely going to be on our watch list for some All-PMC awards at the end of the year. She is an absolute playmaker. On 2nd and 19, a pass back to Valentina Finetti, who finds Sophia Caprio in stride. On 3rd and 8, Valentina Finetti finds Kennedy Foster for a couple yards. It will be 4th and 6 here as Tashumba Washington got a big-time stop there. It will be 4th and 6 here as a check down goes to Janasia Wilson, but Tashumba Washington makes an unbelievable flag pull there to get the clutch turnover on downs. The perennial All-PMC member is making some big plays here late in the game to keep the Bobcats in this one. It will be 1st and 18 for St. Thomas, pinned against their own end zone after that big play there from Washington. And on 1st down, Brooke Bogatz is under heavy pressure, and her pass on the run is picked off by Ashley Clam to immediately give Keiser the ball back in the red zone. It will be 1st and 10 for Keiser after that massive interception from Ashley Clam. A quick pass goes to Sophia Caprio, who appears to be the main target today as she makes it 2nd and 8. On 2nd and 8, Haley Young's pass slips through the receiver's hands, and it is picked off by Nandi Ramazar. And after a series of pitches, it is St. Thomas ball once again. Ramazar is everywhere on the field for this St. Thomas defense. It is 1st and 3 in their own territory here for the Bobcats after that crazy interception with 4:20 left in the third quarter. On 1st down, Bogatz finds Leah Cruz in stride for a nice gain to make it 1st and 12. And then Samaya Bryant locks down a short crosser to make it 2nd and 12. Kaylee Miller makes a tough grab and makes it 3rd and 5 here near midfield. A check down pass to Maya Salas here on 3rd down as she reaches across for the 1st down across midfield. It will be 1st and 19 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Bogatz on 1st down fires it to Rayona Baker along the sideline to make it 2nd and 12. And then Bogatz finds Maya Salas as she's falling down, and she makes it 3rd and 11. On 3rd and long, Bogatz fires it over the middle to Kaylee Miller as she makes a very tough grab between two defenders to make it 4th and 5. And that, folks, would send us to the end of the third quarter. Keiser still up on St. Thomas, 20-7. It will be 4th and 5 here for the Bobcats to start us off here in the final quarter of this game. Sydney Brooks is in at QB here for St. Thomas for the 4th down try for some reason. She takes the snap, avoids a sack, and keeps it, but Kennedy Foster comes flying in and makes a diving flag pull at the last second to get a crazy clutch turnover on downs that would have put St. Thomas in the red zone. It will be Keiser ball here, 1st and 20 with 11 minutes left here in the game. But the Seahawks would actually end up going 3 and out here. And on the punt, Tashumba Washington got the return, and she pitched it back to Maya Salas on the punt as she got a nice return there to make it 1st and 8 for the Bobcats in Keiser territory with 8 minutes left here in the game. Emma Wagenman tracks down Bogatz on the keeper for no gain. And on 2nd and 8, a dangerous pass over the middle is intercepted by Samaya Bryant as she rips it down the sideline to potentially ice this game. It is 1st and 15 in STU territory here for the Seahawks. Following that interception here with 6:30 left in the game. After an incomplete pass on 1st down, Haley Young connects with Chloe Griffin here to make it 3rd and 8. On 3rd down, Nandi Ramazar shuts down a check down here for a loss. It will be 4th and 12 here as Keiser calls timeout with 4 minutes left in this one. Coming out of the timeout, Haley Young takes the snap as she's falling backwards and somehow finds Ashley Clam, who makes a leaping grab for a 1st down in the red zone. It will be 1st and 15 here for the Seahawks after that big-time play by Clam. And honestly, only Clam and a couple of other receivers in the country could go up and make that catch. On the next play, a quick pass goes to Ashley Clam once again in a tight window as they are finally starting to get her going here. She was getting double teamed all game. It will be 2nd and 10 here for Keiser. On 2nd down, a check down goes to Janasia Wilson, who makes 2 defenders miss on her way to the end zone for a Keiser touchdown. What an unbelievable game here for Wilson. She has been lighting up the St. Thomas defense ever since the end of the first half. Keiser leads now 27-7 after Brenna Ramirez made the grab on the extra point with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. It will be 1st and 6 here for St. Thomas. They are down 20 points now. A false start makes it 1st and 13. And on 1st down, Bogatz launches it deep, and Tashumba Washington makes a diving grab for a huge gain to make it 1st and 5 near midfield. On first down, Dakota Moberg breaks up a pass, and then Reagan Pellegrino forces Brooke Bogats to scramble, and her pass is picked off by Samaya Bryant, who's having one hell of a game. That's her second pick of just the fourth quarter. It is 1st and 9 near the red zone for Keiser with 1:51 remaining in the game. And Keiser would waste no time here as they send Janasia Wilson in motion, who throws it deep to a wide open Hannah Lencioni Gonzalez. Sorry if I mispronounced that there. And she can walk into the end zone as Keiser goes up 34-7 after the extra point with 1:47 left here in the game. And that, folks, would be our final score in this one as Keiser dominates St. Thomas 34-7 to stay undefeated to start off the 2025 flag football season. And honestly, when you're watching Keiser, usually the thing that stands out the most is going to be their high-flying offense. But in this game, I really think it was their defense that set the tone. You have two-way playmakers like Ashley Clam, Kennedy Foster, Adriana Cavallati that are just all over the field. And then, of course, you got players like Emma Wagenman, who's always one of the best rushers in the country. And then you have her counterpart, Samaya Bryant, who is terrific in coverage and on the rush. Her speed was absolutely incredible in this one. She had 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter to ice this game, as well as a sack earlier in the game. And then offensively for the Seahawks, I really like what Haley Young brings to their QB position. Her touch is just fantastic when she throws. Unbelievable accuracy and timing. And then obviously you have an incredible receiving core. Brenna Ramirez, Ashley Clam, Kennedy Foster, Adriana Cavallati, and now Janasia Wilson, the freshman halfback, is absolutely so much fun to watch. She is so hard to get flag pulls on, and just with her agility and her speed, that adds yet another dimension to this unbelievable Keiser offense. That was a fantastic win for the Seahawks. And for St. Thomas, despite the score, I would say that their defense was making a lot of great plays. Players like Nande Ramazar, Lanaya Leone, these are key playmakers and potential all-PMC members, and they are going to take St. Thomas to a lot of success. Offensively, though, I do like Brooke Bogats as the QB. She's a lot more athletic than their QB from last year, and I think she just provides a little bit more of a diverse option, and her ability to kind of move around in the pocket allows for St. Thomas to get some open stuff down the field. I like what they have as far as short crossers go. They're able to move the sticks rather well, but it's honestly just that red zone and, 4th and short, 3rd and short scenarios that they can kind of work on to make themselves more of a complete offense. But overall, I do still love what St. Thomas has. Obviously not a great game as far as the score goes, but I think there are some positives to take away from that one for sure. And that, folks, will do it for this recap. This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and I will see you all later. Peace out.
All right, now let's go ahead and talk about another game, one of many actually, from Saturday, March 1st. We have Reinhardt hosting Campbellsville. Number 13 Reinhardt versus number 11 Campbellsville going into this game. Campbellsville will be playing their first game of the season. This is their season opener. For Reinhardt, this is actually their second game after coming into this game 0-1, being blown out by Thomas, which is not a crazy thing to happen here. It is Thomas. But going into this game, both teams looking to get a win here. Campbellsville starting with one. Reinhardt getting their first one of the season. And so here's what happens. In the first quarter, not even settled down yet. It's a thrown pass by Kaylee Kent of Reinhardt, I'm pretty sure, and intercepted by Yaneli Quiros. That's the first pass of the game. intercepted right over the middle. And so Campbellsville with a 1st and 1 approaching the red zone just outside. After a drop snap, which brings up 2nd and 5 here. And by the way, to start this game for Campbellsville would be freshman quarterback Corrine Talkington. So she would drop that one. On 2nd down, Talkington gets a snap, scrambles left, and pitches it left to, I believe, Hannah Love, who gets a nice gain to put them in the red zone here. 1st and 10, a gain of almost 15 right there. On 1st and 10, they run a speed option right and pitch it. That goes for 7. Then it's a direct snap to their speedster and playmaker Presley Payne, who then pitches the left back to the quarterback Corrine Talkington. That goes for no gain, though. Then on 3rd down, they throw it, but this pass is dropped. So that brings up 4th down here. And on 4th down, Talkington throws the drag route, but she kind of gets pulled down here. And so, well, she does get pulled down. So that's going to be a penalty. So now it's 1st down, half the distance to the goal line here. After a speed option right, which the pitch is dropped here, they lose about a yard. They then direct snap it to Presley Payne, who looks like she cuts in for a score, but they mark her down short, so 3rd and 1 now. They then do another direct snap to Payne. This time she pitches it left to Talkington, but a great flagpole stops her just short. So now it's 4th down. 4th down, their second 4th down in the red zone for Campbellsville. Talkington with the snap rolls out right and throws to Annalise Beecher, who toe taps it in to give them a score 6-0. First one of the year. The PAT's no good here, but Campbellsville draws blood first to start this game. Now Reinhardt, they get the ball here. Kaylee Kent in at quarterback. 1st down, she just couldn't handle the snap here. Pass is dropped, or snap is dropped. On 2nd, she rolls out right, throws a dangerous pass, which is almost another interception, maybe a pick 6, but this one is dropped here. Good defense by Campbellsville. 3rd, Kent scrambles right, but is stopped short by JC Harper. So now that brings up 4th down. And they're going to go for it pretty aggressive here in their first quadrant. They go for it here. Kent rolls right and throws it towards a falling receiver. It looks like maybe she was trying to bait a PI or holding call, but I mean, the ball was also just thrown out of bounds. So either way, that's a tough turnover on downs. Campbellsville, again, started, well, I guess not again, but the 2nd time here in this game already on their 2nd drive in the red zone. 1st and 12 in the red zone. Talkington at quarterback gets a snap, patient. She's waiting for someone to get open, and then a rusher almost gets there, and she just kind of forces this one over the middle, lobbing a very ill-advised pass, and this one is pretty easily picked off by Rebecca Jenkins. And so Reinhardt now is a 1st and 15. 1st down and 15 for Reinhardt. 3rd drive of the game. Kent scrambles up the middle and she makes it 2nd and 12. Then it looks like they put in Bella DePiece at quarterback. I want to say the sophomore transfer from Thomas. She scrambles left for a solid gain here, and that goes for 11. And so that's where we pick up here in the 2nd quarter. Reinhardt 3rd and 4 still in that first quadrant. On 1st down, she throws it over the middle, but it is tipped up and falls harmlessly on the ground. Might have been intercepted there, but luckily no one was close enough to get their hands on it. So 4th and 4, and they're gonna go for it again in their first quadrant. And they throw it, and it's a drop pass. So that's another turnover on downs. And so Campbellsville with their 3rd red zone trip here at the start of the 2nd quarter. 1st and 15. They go ahead and throw the quick slant here to Troutman. That goes for a solid gain of about 7. And by the way, they made a quarterback change, which is very interesting to see. But Journey Knowles goes in at quarterback, I believe. She is wearing a black jersey or sling or something like that covers up her number, but I'm going to assume it is her here, as the other 2 quarterbacks are freshmen, one being Talkington, the other one I want to say is Imani Scott. Imani Scott. So Journey Knowles in here, and so she gets that pass to Troutman. Following that, the next pass is deflected at the line here. Then they throw a pass right over the middle on the spot route. Couldn't quite see who caught this one, but she was wide open, and so that makes it 12-0. PAT's overthrown, so it stays at a 2 score. Well, it stays at a 12-0 game. Now, Reinhardt, they get the ball here. First down, DP's still at quarterback. A check down here goes for 5. They then scramble left here. The quarterback does, and it's Kaylee Kent that's now in. She gets the first down just barely to make it 1st and 19. First down's incomplete. Second down's incomplete. Third down, Kent gets a snap and is immediately sacked by, I want to say, Amani Scott. So now it's 4th and 25, and this time they actually punt it, which sets up Campbellsville with the 1st and 3 approaching midfield, looking to put this one away early, and Talkington goes back in at quarterback. She throws the check down to JC Harper for a nice gain, but a penalty will be thrown versus Campbellsville, so they'll replay that one. About 1st and 3 here. First down pass is incomplete. Second down, it's a pitch left to Presley Payne, who gives them the 1st and 17 past midfield. Following that, Talkington throws over the middle to Itzan Ross Gibbs. That goes for a nice gain of about 12. She then rolls out right before pitching it for a nice gain here, but it's another penalty against the offense. So now it's a replay. This time, though, 2nd and 15. On second down, Talkington gets a snap, goes deep, and finds Annalise Beecher, who boxes out her defender for a nice sideline catch here, but still short of the first down. It is 3rd and 1. Still a nice catch, though. On 3rd and 1, Talkington flips it forward to Payne, who now makes it a 1st and 12 in the red zone. So dangerous in space, which we knew, but getting some good yards after the catch there. Then, on 1st and 12, first play here in the red zone, or at least on this red zone trip, Talkington gets a snap, finds Annalise Beecher left on the wide open pass to make it 18-0. There would be a mix-up on the PAT where the ball would eventually be dropped, so that would be what it would be. But this game would pretty much be over at this point. Early in the 4th quarter, it would be a touchdown pass from Talkington to Itzan Rojas Gibbs. That would really put this one away as they go up 24-0. Reinhardt would score 8 points, in the 4th quarter, but it would be garbage time, which, I'm not going to lie, even looking at the one touchdown they scored, having watched this game, it looked a lot like a drop to me. It did not look like a touchdown. I'm just going to say that. So, definitely not as close as maybe the scoreboard looks here. But Campbellsville handled this game well. I mean, they dominated on defense, and then offensively had some really nice drives going for them. All right, now, looking at the box score, it is, by the way, the next day that I'm recording this segment. Next day from that game, that is. It's March 2nd. And this is definitely not right. Reinhardt's side looks right, but then the left side, it looks like it just took players. Like the same jersey numbers from Campbellsville and put it under Reinhardt's name here. So that sucks. I don't know who is who here. I mean, here, let me go ahead and do this. Let me look at the roster, and I'll do my best to translate some of these. And if it's wrong, you can blame Reinhardt. It is wrong there. But playmaker of the game, I think, has to be Annalise Beecher. She played a good game here. She was open a lot. And if she wasn't open, she made herself open. She caught 2 touchdowns, I believe, in this game. And if these stats are right... No, actually, screw it. There's no point. It doesn't even say the numbers. This would be a lot of work to put in here. But Campbellsville, they dominated this game. I could give you Reinhardt's stats, though. Isabella DePiece, 6 of 17, 69 yards, the 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Keely Kent, 26 yards, an interception, 5 of 10 there. Nicole Aruz, 4 for 36, and I think she might have been the only receiver with over 2 receptions, so that's rough for them. And then Blythe Townsend leading with 4 tackles here. Also an interception on defense, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. Let's start with Reinhardt. They just haven't looked good. They just haven't looked good to start this season. Offensively, there's definitely some questions about the play calling, I would say. I think I think going for it in that first quadrant a couple of times is just not a great idea. And Campbellsville, I mean, they're a disciplined enough team where they're going to score most of the time if you're going to give them the ball in the red zone. So that's just what's going to happen. So just not good over there. Not much more to say. For Campbellsville, for a first game of the season, pretty good though. They looked very put together here. Offensively, maybe they could have scored a couple more points here and there, but I do think it's a little interesting. I was watching throughout the game. They got Kareem Talkington in, they got Journey Knowles in, and they also got Amani Scott in, and it wasn't like they're up by a lot. I mean, they were up by 18 in the second quarter, but you know, they rotated a lot of quarterbacks in, so, you know, early on, that might be an interesting quarterback controversy to keep an eye on. And yes, I would call it a quarterback controversy because you don't play 3 quarterbacks in your season opener if you're not super confident about at least one of them. So, interesting go for Campbellsville, but they looked good. I mean, offensively, I thought all 3 quarterbacks ran the offense at a pretty solid rate. I mean, you know, like I said, they stalled out after that second quarter. They did get one in the fourth, but other than that, they looked fine to me. Defensively, this team looks very, very fine-tuned. I thought they did a good job over there. Not many blown assignments, which is rare for, you know, a first game or so in the season. So, shout out Campbellsville. They go ahead and start the season 1-0 with their 24-8 win over Reinhardt. Now, real quick, I'm going to talk about some games that happened at the same time as a lot of these other Saturday games here. And this happened down in Florida. Florida Gateway College was hosting a couple of these games. And one of those was Florida Gateway versus Pasco-Hernando State College here, as well as Point versus Pasco-Hernando State College. So I'll be talking about those pretty quickly. I mean, in both of those, they weren't really close. Point beat Pasco-Hernando State, couldn't get an official score, unfortunately, but they did beat him. All right, real quick, wanted to talk about this junior college matchup between Florida Gateway College and Pasco-Hernando State College here. Pasco, I believe, already played a game against Point, or at least I already recapped it, and it was a blowout. And then Florida Gateway, this had to have been, I'm pretty sure this is the first game of their season, and of the day as well. And they would go ahead and win big here. On their website, it says they won 52-0. Did watch a little bit of this game. I mean, it just wasn't close at all. There was an interception on Pasco's first drive here that would start them in the red zone. And then Kayla Ludwig, by the way, starting at quarterback for Florida Gateway, would throw an out route on 4th down. And the receiver couldn't quite get her number, but she would make a couple players miss and walk it in for the early touchdown there. And she had to make a couple players miss to get in there. So that kind of tells you a lot. And then on the next drive here for Pasco, they would go 3 and out. And then I'm pretty sure Florida Gateway would return a punt for a touchdown to take, or I guess they already had the lead, but to extend that lead. And like I said, they would win 52-0. Not much more really to talk about here. Let's just keep this thing moving. Florida Gateway getting their first win of the season, though. Moving on, though, we're going to talk about another Florida Gateway matchup. This time, Florida Gateway College plays Point University, an NAIA who we had ranked at number 15 in the country out of NAIA schools going into this one. Point 3-2 going into this game, falling to NAIA teams in Milligan in a close game, and then Thomas in a not-so-close game, but defeating Columbus State, Emmanuel, and Alabama State here. Couple of non-NAIA teams. And then Florida Gateway going into this game 1-0, just killed Pasco-Hernando State College earlier in this day here. So they're 1-0 going into this one. And so let's just go ahead and hop into the first quarter here. Point starts on offense. Christian Wright at quarterback throws a quick one to Leah Prather to make it 1st down and 20. On 1st and 20, Wright rolls left and throws a little bit of a dangerous pass over the middle, which is knocked away. 2nd down here, it's incomplete. 3rd down, it's a slant right to Campbellsville, I believe the former Florida Gateway player here, and kind of emerging as their wideout one option, but we'll talk about more in the post-game recap here. So there you go. But she goes ahead and she gets the slant and then pitches it left to Prather, but she's still short. It's 4th and 14. They're going to go for it, which is a little questionable here. And it's questionable because on 4th and 14, Wright gets a snap, and she's immediately sacked by Michaela Brown, the linebacker for Florida Gateway. So that's a turnover on downs, and actually Florida Gateway's first drive starts in the red zone, 1st and 18. Kayla Ludwig, the Warner transfer, in at quarterback. And she gets a snap, and she lofts a beautiful dot to Alexandra Harris, who just brings in a tough catch as well here in one-on-one on the first play on offense for Florida Gateway, and that puts them up 6-0. On the slant, Ludwig finds London Jenkins to make it 7-0, and so here we go. We are rolling. Point with a chance to respond on 1st down. Right scrambles for a couple, but still short of the first. It's 2nd. She then scrambles right and throws it, but it's a little bit too high, and Michaela Brown is able to make a play on the ball and knocks it away. But then they throw a penalty against Florida Gateway here. I guess maybe a little bit too much contact there, which I don't know. It looked fine to me. So now it's 1st and 15 here. Wright finds Civilian again, and she makes it a 3-yard gain here. They then go back to Philly, and she goes for 7. Following that, Christian Wright throws it deep, but it is dropped. So that brings up 4th down. And on 4th down, she tries to go back to Maddie Motz, but that was just an ambitious decision, we'll say that, as it's right over the middle, and it is easily intercepted by Layla West, who gets it, puts a move on him, and then goes to the house to score on the pick 6 to make it 13-0. PAT is knocked away by Aitzai Lee, but Florida Gateway firmly in control of this one. Point, they get the ball back, looking to control this one. They go back to Kenzie Fillion, who has to stop her whole route to make this contested catch for 1 yard. Following that, they throw an out to Fillion that goes for a 1st down, 1st and 19. Right, then throws the out right to Maddie Motz, to make it 2nd and 16. Right, then scrambles for maybe a yard. But it's probably no gain, so 3rd down here. And then on 3rd down, gets a snap, fades back, and then throws a curl route here, and that one is easily deflected. Could have been intercepted potentially, but definitely deflected. So it's 4th down. They got to punt it, and so here we go. Florida Gateway, 1st and 19 past midfield, looking to continue to hammer the nails in the coffin here. They run an end around to Ainsley Little, who throws it, but that pass is broken up. So now that brings up 2nd down here, and on 2nd down, Ludwig gets a snap and throws it up the seam to a wide open Tramisha Harris, who goes to the house for a 30-plus yard touchdown to make it 19-0 as Florida Gateway is pulling away. PAT, though, not good on this one. And so Point needs to score. And so here's what happens. 1st down, Wright scrambles right for a 1st down, and so that's where we pick up in the 2nd quarter. 1st and 19 Point. 1st and 19 approaching midfield, and now they sub in a new quarterback. She's not listed on the roster because she's wearing number 16, but she goes ahead and gets a snap, and she speeds down the right sideline for a nice gain of 20. So now it's 1st and 19 past midfield. On 1st down, she throws it. The pass is knocked away by Hannah McIver. That brings up 2nd. She then scrambles right here. Gets a nice gain, a solid gain of 7. But that brings up 3rd and 12. And on 3rd down, she's under pressure. Throws it. It's incomplete, off the mark. 4th down. And interesting enough, they decide to punt it here. So there's that. And so they punt it, and then Florida Gateway, they go ahead and field it, and they pitch it a couple of times, and then eventually lands in the hands of London Jenkins, who reverses fields and is gone to the house to give Florida Gateway the dominant 25-0 lead. Or so I thought. But I guess she stepped out? I don't know. It looked clean to me, so I don't know what's happening, but it's 1st and 1, technically, in the red zone. They are in the red zone. So there you go. The first 2 plays are incomplete. That brings up 3rd down. Ludwig rolls out right, finds Tramisha Harris, and that officially makes it 25-0. They then throw the slant to make it 26-0, and this game would be over. Florida Gateway, I believe, winning. This is what it says on their website, 52-0 over point here. Playmaker of the game, Kayla Ludwig. I think this actually could have went to their whole receiving core as well. They all played well, but Kayla Ludwig, she threw a couple nice touchdowns here and really got them going. That first play on offense was electric, and technically I actually saw this game before I saw the Florida Gateway versus Pasco game, so it's good to see her back in action over there. And then it's going to be really fun to cover this team when we could here. They got a lot of talent over there, a lot of players who could play on the next level, and honestly, this is probably a team, they beat the number 15 NAIA team in the country, but this is probably a team that, if they competed on the NAIA level, could definitely be a top 10 team. So, very good squad, and they win their second game of the season to start 2-0 here. Florida Gateway takes this one 52-0 over point. All right, now we got more Sun Conference action here. We have number 6 Weber versus number 19 Florida Memorial here. Was not able to watch this game in real time because there were like a million games going on at the same time on Saturday, but was obviously able to watch a lot of this back here and also look at the box score. And this was an interesting game here. So here, let me just go ahead and hop into it. In the first quarter, FMU would get the ball first here. They would not be able to score on that one. It would be a turnover on downs on 4th and 5. Weber would get the ball, and they would get going pretty quickly right away here. Wilson finding Caitlin Sigmundy on 13. And then it looks like there would be a penalty thrown here. But doesn't matter as Wilson finds Cheyenne Duran for 17 and then Bria Cam for 18. And then she runs it in for a 12-yard gain here. Weber off to a fast start. On the PAT, she goes ahead and throws this one, and it is good as they take the 7-0 lead with 2:55 early in the first quarter. FMU starting with the ball, or I guess their second drive starting with the ball, 2:55. Taimalu Santos at quarterback completes a big pass to Mariah Brooks for 25. Then we have an incompletion. Then she finds Oriana Brooks for 16 here. And then Weber calls a timeout with 1:13 left. So there you go. On first down, it would be incomplete. On second, Taimalu Santos would find Alexis Nelson here, and that would pretty much end the first quarter. So at the start of the second quarter, it would be 3rd and 6 for FMU. Santos finds Oriana Brooks for 4, and then Mariah Brooks for 5 here. Then on 4th and 2, she would throw it, and it would be incomplete, but they would throw a PI penalty on Weber. So that would obviously extend this drive and I believe also give them a first down here. And so on first down, Santos finds Mariah Brooks for 23 yards, and that goes for a touchdown. I want to say the first NAI touchdown that FMU has scored this year, which is good. So there you go. On the PET though, it's no good. So they are trailing 7-6 here. Weber, they get the ball, and here we go. Sam Wilson on first down, it's incomplete, but on second down, Wilson completes a 51-yarder to Caitlin Sigmundy. She then, following that big play, it's 1st and 10. Wilson completes a pass for 6 to Bria Cam, and then she runs it in here. Or, well, I should say she eventually runs it in here to give them the lead again. And then I think the PAT was no good. It wasn't good. So they are up 13-7. Now, FMU, they would get the ball here, and they would actually put together a pretty solid drive. And this one would end with Santos finding Oriana Brooks for 3 yards out for a touchdown with 1:42 left. And then she would actually complete the PAT as FMU takes the lead here 14-13 with 1:42 left. Weber would try to put something together, and they had the time for it, but would just not be able to get much going here, which is unfortunate. And they would actually give FMU the ball with 54 seconds left. And luckily enough, nothing came out of this drive here. And so going into half, FMU leading 14-13. But to start the third quarter, really it's not to start the third quarter, because FMU on their first drive, they would end up punting it after getting a first down. Weber on technically the second drive, of the third quarter as a whole, they would go ahead and get a nice score here. Wilson finding Balako, Shingles, and Sigmundi eventually on the 9-yard touchdown to go ahead and put them back up. I want to say that puts them up 19-14. Then the PAT would be good. That would make it 20-14. I want to say it's 20-14 there. And then FMU would try to put something together here, but Ziona Shingles will get an interception here and return it for a touchdown for a big-time pick six to continue to add to that lead as they're now up 2 scores. PAT would be good from a throw from Sam Wilson, by the way. On the next drive, FMU would go 3 and out, and that would pretty much be the beginning of the end here, as Weber would get the drive and Sam Wilson would go ahead and run it in for a touchdown, and the PAT would be good. And this one would just get out of hand after that. So, final score of this one, Weber 36, FMU 14, a 21-point third quarter, plus they got a safety in the fourth. But this was a game that started kind of close here, and then Weber just took off, which was to be expected from there, and they won big time 36-14, but definitely some good growth by FMU. But even then, you can't have a pick six and then a 3 and out on back-to-back drives here. And, Weber, they're a good team. They're ranked up in the top 10 for a reason, but that is just very unfortunate there. So, there you go. For Weber, this one was tough. I think Playmaker of the game, I think honestly it could be a couple different players, but I think it has to be the senior quarterback, Sam Wilson, who went 20 of 31, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but also ran for 48 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ziona Shingles, I would say, would probably be my other pick here. 3 for 44 as their second leading receiver here, and then also had 6 pulls here, 6 tackles, and that big pick six that would go ahead and pretty much break FMU's back here, and that was definitely big time. Looking at the other stats here, Caitlin Sigmundi led 6 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown in this one. Looking on defense, Emma Balako led with 9 pulls here and a pass breakup. Narishka Oyola, I want to say, that's how you say that, 2 sacks. Kalia Gator, a sack, and then Cheyenne Durant also had a sack and 3 breakups, which was pretty good there too. For Florida Memorial, Taimalu Santos, a better game here, 31 of 45, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Kelsey Williams, 8 receptions, 78 yards. She led for them. Mariah Brooks, 5 for 64 and a touchdown for them. Oriana Brooks had the other receiving touchdown, 3 for 23 for her. And then on defense for FMU, Brooks led with 6 tackles, Vanessa Queen 5, and an interception there. And yeah, on paper, it doesn't look bad, like box score wise for FMU, but the way they just couldn't get anything going in that second half is definitely rough. But it's improvement for FMU to take a step forward. I would say right now they're probably deeper than Weber is, as Riley Bolser is probably not going to come back this season, so that's a rough hit for them. But FMU, they showed some improvement, which is what you want here. And, box score wise, it doesn't look that bad. Now, 2 interceptions thrown is pretty bad, and then also 0 points in the second half is pretty bad as well. But it's something, right? And you could take that. For Weber, they continued to roll here. It looked a little precarious, I could say, at the beginning of this game, more so that first half. But even then, they had a chance to retake the lead in the second quarter, and they just didn't. They had a lot of time 2 minutes to do that too. So, those things happen, but what matters is that they had a dominant second half, 23 points, unanswered points in the second half, which is big time to go ahead and win them that game. And, that's just a testament to how good this team is. So, there you go. Weber beats FMU 36-14. All right, now big matchup here. We have number 1 Ottawa versus number 7 Kansas Wesleyan. Both of these teams just playing last Sunday here, just a couple of days ago. K-Dub 2-1 going into this one, beating Midland and Baker, obviously losing to Ottawa. Ottawa, obviously 3-0, beating all of those teams as well as Kansas Wesleyan last Sunday, 28-0. Looking to see if this game would be a little bit different here. Ottawa hosting at home. So here we go. First quarter. Kansas Wesleyan starts with the ball. The first pass is a little shaky, a little dangerous there, so that's incomplete. Second down here. Shahira Awada avoids the rush and scrambles, gets the first down. It's now 1st and 20. She then throws the drag late here to Leah Wood, but she makes a catch. It only goes for 1 though. Following that, Awada throws her curl route right back to Wood, who makes a player miss and turns upfield for a solid gain. It's now 3rd and 7. On 3rd down here, Awada threads the needle over the middle, but this one is dropped here right in her hands. And then luckily for them, it's roughing the passer, so it's a 1st down and 16 past midfield. On 1st down and 16, Awada finds Angel Roman near the right sideline, who gets a solid gain of 7. On 2nd down, it's another dropped pass. On 3rd down, Awada throws the corner out here, and it is caught. A big catch here, which I believe is by Aaliyah Wood. That puts them in the red zone of 1st and 15. On 1st and 15, Awada tries to throw the post route, but this one is just great coverage, knocked away by Talia McGinnis, the standout DB for Ottawa. On 2nd, Awada scrambles for a couple. That goes for 8. On 3rd down here, Awada looking to pass, but DJ Paris with the sack makes it 4th and 15. On 4th down, Awada lofts a beautiful ball into the end zone to an open wide receiver here, who makes an all-hands catch. But the ref said, they originally said that she got sacked here. And then they threw a penalty on Ottawa. So they're going to replay this 4th down. They're obviously closer. It's 4th and 9 or 4th and 10. And on 4th down, Awada gets a snap. There's a dime to the corner, but it is dropped again. This was a wide open pass. It would have been a touchdown here. 3rd drop of this drive here as Kansas Wesleyan comes away with nothing on that one. So Ottawa takes over with the 1st and 10. Madison Carrera in at quarterback finds Alyssa Linkus. This duo, doing it forever, goes for 9. Following that, she goes to Camacho, the other duo that's been doing it forever. That goes for 1st and 18. On 1st down, Carrera steps up and launches one deep down the right sideline to Tatiana Dos Santos, who's just wide open. A bad miscommunication for Kansas Wesleyan. And so she almost scores here, but is just barely hawked down by Kansas Wesleyan. So now it's 1st and 1 approaching the red zone. Carrera goes back to Dos Santos and then pitches it. That goes for a good gain, which would have been a first, but there's a penalty assessed on Kansas Wesleyan. So now it's 1st and 7 in the red zone. And on 1st down, here's what happens. Carrera gets a snap, rolls out right, throws the quick pass to Addie Osborne, who walks it in to make it 6-0. The PAT is overthrown, so it stays right there. And so Kansas Wesleyan, 2:21 left, looking to get something going here. 1st down, Awada checks it down to her center. I believe it's Ava Durr. That gives them a 1st down and 20. On 1st down, Awada throws it, and it's another drop, their 4th drop of the game. So now that brings up 2nd down here, and it's another drop again. That's their 5th drop of the game. So now it's 3rd down and 20, and Awada rifles one over the middle to Leah Wood, who takes a lot of contact here, but brings in a crazy catch, but she's still short. And so Kansas Wesleyan, 4th and 5. That's to start the 2nd quarter, by the way. The 1st quarter just ended. They go ahead and punt it. And so Ottawa takes over with 11:52 left. 1st and 9 approaching midfield. So here we go. Ottawa looking to make Kansas Wesleyan pay for their mistakes. Carrera scrambles around eventually for a 1st down past midfield, 1st and 18. Following that, she checks it down to Alyssa Gillespie. Nice pass here to make it 2nd and 5. Then it looks like on 2nd down and 5, Carrera gets snapped looking, and then she just kind of gets chased out of bounds by, I want to say it's Aaliyah Oliver here, as Carrera was just buying time, just couldn't find anybody. So now it's 3rd and 7. On 3rd down and 7, Carrera gets a snap, lofts one deep to Alyssa Linkus, but this time the defense is there and they knock it away. So now it's 4th down, make it 4th and 13 after a delay of game is thrown on them. And here we go, 4th and 13, Ottawa's going for it. A conversion here would be devastating. And before they call a play, they call a timeout at 8:10. So that's the first one, I believe, of the half. Outside of the timeout, 4th and 13, Carrera with the snap. Throws a corner to her left to a wide open Alyssa Linkus, who gets the first down. 1st and 18, actually, in the red zone. And it just looked like another miscommunication there. So that's tough. On 1st and 18, Carrera throws it, and this pass is dropped. This is technically the 6th dropped pass of the game, but the first one for Ottawa. On 2nd down here, Carrera throws the quick hitch left to Jada Bayron, who makes it 3rd and 8. On the next play, Carrera then throws the drag late left to Alyssa Linkus, who spins trying to get into the end zone, but is short. 4th and 4 here, and on 4th down, Carrera with the snap throws a wide open pass left on the drag route to Marley Spielberg to make it 12-0. They'll go for 2 here, and it would be no good. Carrera would try to duck beneath a rusher, but her knee would hit the ground. So there you go. Ottawa's still up by 2 scores. Kansas Wesleyan, they need something here. 5:29 left in the second. Here's what happens. Awada throws a curl left to a receiver. 1st and 15. Couldn't see who the receiver was. Actually, really couldn't see a lot of the Kansas Wesleyan numbers, but I did what I could. So there's that. On 1st down and 15, Awada throws the out route left to Leah Wood. That goes for 8. She then goes back to Wood on 2nd down on the slant. That gives them a 1st and 19 pass midfield. Then Awada checks it down to her center, Ava Durr, to go for a gain of 13 here. She would then find Aaliyah Wood again on the slant to make it a 1st and 7 in the red zone. Aaliyah Wood cooking on this drive. Then Awada goes back to her center, Ava Durr, who's also cooking on this drive, who reaches over for trying to score here for the touchdown, but is just short. So it's 2nd down and 2. On 2nd down here, Awada throws it, but it's another nice deflection by Talia McGinnis. So now it's 3rd down. And on 3rd down, it's just good coverage. Awada throws it. Ottawa, one of the defenders, gets a hand in there. And so that brings up an incompletion and 4th down here. On 4th, big one here. Awada gets snapped, and she just dumps it off to her center, Ava Durr, for the first touchdown to make it 12-7 with 1:21 left here. And actually, I don't think that was Ava Durr. It's listed here as Alexis Jimenez, so maybe I was just wrong there. So I apologize about that. But they get on the board here, 12-7 with 1:21 left. Kansas Wesleyan, 12-6 with 1:21 left. They go for 2 here as they're only down by 6. On the PAT, they throw it. It's incomplete, but a penalty is thrown, so they're going to run it again. And on this PAT, Awada gets snapped, throws the out route, but it's just a little bit too far, so that's incomplete. So PAT is no good, only down 12-6 here. And so here we go. Ottawa looking to score right before half. They have plenty of time. They have 1:21 left. Here's what happens. Carrera on 1st down rolls left, flips it to her receiver for a nice sideline catch that goes for 6. 2nd down, it's overthrown. 3rd down, Carrera buys some time, finds her check down in the flats. I think that's Isabella Sosa for a 1st and 19. They then call a timeout at 1:03 left. Out of the timeout, Carrera throws the drag to Alyssa Linkus, and that goes for 10. After that play here, Carrera then rolls out right, throws the comeback route back to Linkus again. That gives them a 1st and 19 pass midfield with 50 seconds left. She also gets out of bounds. She then throws a quick hitter to her right to Spielberg. That goes for 2nd and 10. She also gets out of bounds there. Then another one, basically the same play to Spielberg. That goes for 5, and she gets out of bounds again. And so all these plays, and they were getting out of bounds, so not a lot of time off the clock here, but it's 3rd and 4 here, and on 3rd down, Carrera with the snap checks it down to Addie Osborne, and you already know she's dangerous in space. She takes this one, to the house to burn this defense here and make it 18-6 on the PAT. Madison Carrera just runs this one in to make it 19-6. Kansas Wesleyan, they get the ball with 30 seconds left, take a couple of shots here, but I mean, they weren't really realistically going to score. So that is that. Ottawa with a dominant 19-6 lead here, and they get ball to start the second half. And so here we go. Ottawa on offense. Carrera on first down buys some time, going left before throwing across her body to Addie Osborne, who gets the first down. Following that play, Carrera rolls out right, finds a Linkus that goes for a gain of 11. They then direct snap it to Addie Osborne, who momentarily bobbles the snap, but then cuts it up right up the sideline here for a first down. She also gets tackled at the end of that play, so that's an easy holding call, and it's now 1st and 15 past midfield. On first down on the other side, Carrera buys some time before finding Camacho for a gain of 11. On second here, Carrera then scrambles left. That puts them in the red zone, 1st and 14. On first down in the red zone, Madison Carrera throws a nice lane to Tatiana Dos Santos, who brings it in despite really good coverage. So now it's 2nd and 5 here. And then on second down, Carrera finds a wide open receiver on just a quick curl route throw to make it 25-6. And then on the PAT, Carrera would run it in to make it 26-6. Could not see who the receiver was on that one, but I believe it was Marley Spielberg again. So, there you go. Now, we're like halfway through the third quarter. Ottawa is up by 20 here, so Kansas Wesleyan, they need something to get going. First down's an incompletion, though. Second down, it's a check down to her center, who slips past the first puller and gets some good yards here. So now it's 1st and 10. Approaching midfield. On first down, Awada throws a curl route left here that goes for 9. On second, Awada then runs around before trying to throw over the middle, but this one's just a little bit too low, so it's incomplete. On third down, Awada throws the quick hitch left to Roman, who spins around for a first down past midfield, 1st and 15. Following that, Awada then throws an out route back to Angel Roman. She gets another 5. Then on third, Awada throws the out route again, and it's open, but it is yet another drop here for Kansas Wesleyan. So now that brings up third down. And on third down, Awada sidestep and then takes a shot downfield, but the receiver just kind of turns herself around. She would have had a touchdown here. And so a couple miscues again by the receivers of Kansas Wesleyan. It's now 4th down. And on 4th down, Awada rolls right and throws the drag left to Corin DeQuee. And she finally gives them a 1st and 18 in the red zone. A good play here by both Awada and DeQuee. Now, 1st down and 18 in the red zone. Awada throws a quick hitch to Leah Wood. That makes it 2nd and 14. Only a gain of 4, but still good. Second down's incomplete. Third down, it's an out route thrown to Leah Wood. But she is stopped well short of the end zone. So it's 4th and 6. That went for a gain of 8 here. And on 4th and 6, Kansas Wesleyan really needing a score here. Shira Awada gets a snap, and then throws a perfect slant here and a great catch to Angel Roman, who brings it in to make it 26-12. Kansas Wesleyan would go for 2 again, but this PAT would be overthrown, which is unfortunate. And so Ottawa, they get the ball with 1:35 left here, but Kansas Wesleyan, if they could get a quick stop, that would be huge for them. But here's the unfortunate part. It looks like Kansas Wesleyan calls their first timeout before the first play, so now they only have 2 timeouts going into the 4th, so just keep that in mind when they're trying to stop the clock here. But on first down, it's a check down to Addie Osborne, who splits the defenders again and gets a 1st and 17, having a great game, by the way. On first down here, Carrera then checks it down to Sosa, who makes it a gain of 10. She then finds Alyssa Linkus, who gets a gain of 3. And so it's 3rd and 4. That's where Ottawa is starting as they approach midfield here at the beginning of the 4th quarter. And on 3rd down here in the 4th quarter, Carrera gets snapped, eventually just throws it away. And Ottawa decides to punt it on 4th and 4, which I think is pretty interesting here. And so Kansas Wesleyan, they will have a 1st and 10 with under 11 minutes left here as they, approach midfield. And on first down, Awada throws the hitch route right here to Aaliyah Wood, but she also gets out, so now it's 1st and 20. Following that, Awada rolls out right and throws the drag route to DeQuee for a nice gain of 10. Then there's an incompletion as she's under pressure there. On third down, Awada throws the slant back to Angel Roman on the money. That makes it 1st and 19 past midfield. So sorry, it was 1st and 10 in the first quadrant to start. So now they're past midfield, 1st and 19. Awada throws the hitch route back to Wood. She goes for 5. Then it's another quick hitter, this time to Roman. That goes for 7. 3rd and 7 here. Awada rolls right, finds Wood on a nice sideline catch to make it 1st and 12 in the red zone. Aaliyah Wood with a great game so far today. On 1st down here, Awada has Roman open in the left corner, but it's a tight window here, and it's just slightly overthrown, so that's tough. So now it's 2nd down here, and on 2nd, Awada scrambles right, but is stopped short just before she could score. It does get a gain of 7, though. 3rd down, Awada with the snap, sidestep before lofting one right over the middle to Aaliyah Wood, who's wide open to make it 26-18. Kansas Wesleyan now within 1 score. They'll go for 2 here with 4:39 left, but unfortunately this will be another overthrow. So now it's an 8-point game. I mean, it's just going to stay an 8-point game. Ottawa with the ball with 4:39 left. Couple first downs probably puts this one away here. Kansas Wesleyan needs a stop. Here's what happens. Carrera with the snap evades the rush, finds Camacho in the flats, who gets a 1st down here, tiptoeing down the sideline. And actually getting a lot of yards here as it's now 1st and 6 approaching midfield. On 1st down, Carrera then throws the curl route to Barron to make it 1st and 18 past midfield. Then Carrera throws the out route right to Camacho, who makes the first defender miss, but the second one gets her flag here. So now it's 2nd and 12. On 2nd down, Carrera avoids the rush and throws kind of a dangerous pass that looks like it could have been intercepted, but is knocked away here. That's probably one K-Dub wanted. I mean, that's definitely one they wanted there, a turnover to just end that drive. So 1:40 left, past the 2-minute warning. 3rd down, Carrera with the snap, buys time, lofts one right over the middle to Addie Osborne, who gets what is probably the dagger to make it 1st and 15 here. Actually, sorry, not the dagger. Kansas Wesleyan still has a couple of timeouts, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they just run a couple plays here, and this one is pretty much, they ran 2 plays, I believe. Then this one's pretty much over. Ottawa kind of trying to score at the end to pad their stats a little bit, but couldn't get it. That would be the game. Ottawa beats Kansas Wesleyan 26-18. Playmaker of the game, I think, has to be Addie Osborne. 4 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. She played a great game, and then this is just another masterclass from Madison Carrera. 28 of 34, 288 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm picking Osborne just because she's been great all season long, but in this one, it felt like she was the difference maker when they needed first downs and plays. She gave them first downs, so gotta give her a lot of credit. Also had 11 rushing yards, by the way, there. So there you go. Looking at the stats here before we talk about each team, Madison Carrera, like I said, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Also had 25 rushing yards. Tatiana Dos Santos, the lead receiver, 4 receptions, 65 yards and a touchdown. Osborne, 4 for 57 and a touchdown. Marley Spielberg, 4 for 32 and 2. And then Alyssa Linkus, 7 for 52. On defense here, Jacani Washington led with 8 tackles here. 2 big pass breakups. He also had Leilani Kamal with 6 tackles here. DJ Paris with a sack and 4. Talia McInnes had a game here. 2 tackles, but 5 pass breakups. She was all over the field, so no surprises there. And, I mean, this was a closer score than it looked, but Ottawa winning this one 26-18. Now for Kansas Wesleyan, Shira Awada, pretty good game. 31 of 48, 278 yards, 3 touchdowns, had 12 rushing yards. Aaliyah Wood was her obvious lead receiver with 12 receptions, 115 yards and a touchdown. Angel Roman, 6 for 45 and a touchdown. Ava Durr, 4 for 45. Gordon DeQuee, 3 for 36. And then it looks like Alexis Jimenez had that receiving touchdown there. 3 for 13 and 1. On defense for them, Alexa Mansour, 4 tackles. That would lead them. Kylie Douglas had a sack here. And then a couple pass breakups from Wood, Hawthorne, and Aaliyah Oliver. So There you go. Let's talk about Ottawa here. I mean, they were in control for most of this game, allowed them to come back in it, admittedly, with 12 points in that second half. But, they did a good job here. I think offense did a good job controlling the pace of this game. And then defensively, maybe you wanted a little bit more, a couple turnovers, not as many missed flagpoles. But, can't complain. They held Kansas Wesleyan to 18 points. That's not bad at all. So, if you're Ottawa, you're 4-0. You got to feel happy about this one. I think their next game here will be against Cottey and then William Woods later that week as well. They're not going to be challenged the same way as Kansas Wesleyan challenged them. Now, speaking about Kansas Wesleyan, this was a good game. I mean, they made a run here at the end. One could argue, maybe if they got all those PATs, they would have had a better chance of winning. I think it might have been the same chance of winning, because they still would have been short here. If they got those 3 2-point conversions, they would be at 24 and not 26, so they still would have lost just by a smaller margin. But I don't think that's the bigger issue there. I think some of the miscues on offense to start here, and and some a little bit more down the line, were really rough. All the drops were just bad. And against a team like Ottawa, who can control the pace of the game with their offense, as well as just be lightning quick and score whenever they want to, you need to have every score that you could get. And, they made it to the red zone, and not scoring on that first drive ended up, being the one that kind of caused them to lose this game. A lot of drops. To be honest, for them to even get into the red zone, even after that many drops there on that first drive, is insane. But to have a drop on that fourth down, that's just tough, And then on their second drive, that whole drive is killed by just drops alone. So that's 2 drives that you just couldn't get anything going there. From then on, they would do pretty all right here. They would score on their third drive. On their fourth drive, they only had 30 seconds left, so there wasn't anything really going on there. On their fifth drive in the third quarter, they would score as well. On their sixth drive in the fourth quarter, they would score, and then they just wouldn't get the ball back. And so 6 drives in a game, that sounds about right. For a flag football game, you got to score on those early drives here. Especially with a team like Ottawa who can control the pace like that on offense. You got to put pressure on that offense here to score and, help out your defense a little bit more there. And even though the stats don't look bad, like I said, just a lot of drops here. And this was definitely a winnable game. But, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Right now, Kansas Wesleyan is sitting at 2-2. To be fair, their only losses are to Ottawa, who is the number 1 team in the country. And this game was closer. I did say that. I said last week, it was 28-0. I did not think they played a good game at all. And then this week, I thought they played a much better game. Offensively, they cleaned up a lot of things. They were just smoother and whatnot. And it was good. Shayera Owada, I thought she played a much better game this week here. And her and Aaliyah Wood, they look like a great duo. They look like they've, continued to work on that chemistry, and that's definitely a good thing there. And then defensively, not as bad, right? But, at the same time also, they could have probably been better. Defensively, I will say this about Kansas Wesleyan. They've had some miscues here where, there's just breakdowns in the secondary downfield here early on in that game where Tatiana Dos Santos just was wide open. And Carrera had all day to throw that one and just find a wide open receiver downfield. You just can't do that. And then there's a fourth down where it's like 4th and long, 4th and 13, and 2 DBs go with 1 receiver and leaves a wide open corner out to, I believe, Alyssa Linkus. You can't have that either, because that would have been another drive that would have stopped them and maybe even gave Kansas Wesleyan another offensive drive. And in a 1-score game, that could have been the one to help them win it. And it's just unfortunate there. So even with a couple miscues, they only lost by 8. And so even though I feel like I've had maybe a little bit more of a negative tone when talking about Kansas Wesleyan and some of their miscues here, it is a little bit out of frustration. But at the same time, I think they're going to be just fine here. they realistically could go on like a 10-game winning streak or whatever it is, until they play Ottawa again at the end of the season. This time it'll be in their house, which should hopefully be an advantage for them. And so, I kind of expect them to do that, going on a 10-game win streak here or whatever it is from this one to their next Ottawa matchup, and we'll see what happens there. And it probably shouldn't be close, but hopefully, they continue to hammer out some of those things. Defensively, they really got to fine-tune it and get it right. That's the big one. And then offensively, you just can't have that many drops when you play a contender. So there you go. But with all things being said, this was still a pretty good game here. Ottawa, though, winning this one 26-18 over Kansas Wesleyan.
Hey, y'all. It is Kodey Stoffer with the Playmakers Corner podcast here, and I am going to be recapping the Graceland and Bethel game. This was hosted at Bethel, so the Threshers were at home, and this took place on March 1st, 2025. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this game here, which according to the PMC Power Rankings from week 1, we had these two teams actually at the bottom here at 22 for Graceland and 21 for Bethel. Graceland coming off of a upset win over Cottey, I will say, for their first program win in program history. So be sure to listen to Coach V's recap on that, as that is very exciting stuff. And let's talk about this one. Bethel came in, they played against KWU's kind of B squad, I guess, in a scrimmage here. And we're looking to shake off some of the rust and get back down to business. So Bethel here is going to start off with the football here. And they got number 14 at quarterback, Kendall Longman. That is a freshman out of Logandale, Nevada here. And she starts off by throwing a slant to number 11, Xavier Mann here, out of Dodge County High School in Georgia here, and gains a first down to the 22-yard line. Now on the very next play, the quarterback is going to take a shot once again to number 11, who is open, but she doesn't quite push the ball far enough downfield, and Ayana Hanna here, the defensive back / wide receiver out of Broadview, Illinois, makes the interception here and gives Graceland the ball on the 33-yard line going in. Now on this first one, the ball is thrown just a little wide right and falls incomplete. And after a drop pass over the middle, they are now staring down third down. But a pass on the run to a deep in number 14, Delaney Mondino makes the catch here and skids to the ground, but sets up 4th and 2. Now on 4th and 2, they call a bootleg left where the quarterback Shyla Barrios here keeps it herself and takes off and gets a first down ahead to the 15-yard line. Now, after the snap on first down here, Barrios evades 2 different defenders here and jukes inside for a tough earned 8-yard gain. On 2nd and 7, it is going to be a pass over the middle to Amari Bird here, who catches it and scores. And while they go for 2 and it's no good, Graceland still strikes first here, leading 6-0 with 7 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first quarter here. So Bethel trying to shake off that turnover on their very second play here and is looking to get back into business and try and tie this game up. So the first play is snapped to the quarterback, reads, and she decides to just tuck and run for a gain of 5, setting up 2nd and 1. On 2nd and 1, they run a speed option left where it is pitched to Tatiana McCollum here, who is out of Rockdale Country High School in Georgia here, and she gains enough for a first down all the way to the 24-yard line. Now, good pressure by number 10 of Graceland, which is Caitlin Valero here, forces a short throw that hits 2 receivers and a defender before falling harmlessly to the ground. On the next play, though, the quarterback here, Longman, uncorks a big pass to 23 downfield, but she can't quite haul it in, and it's going to be incomplete. Now on 3rd and 16, once again, Valero here forces an incompletion with great pressure. However, an official calls a penalty on Graceland that pushes Bethel forward with a new set of downs, only 5 yards away from midfield. Now there's a dangerous throw on the next play that falls incomplete, but they come out on 2nd down in trips right and try and get a swing pass over, but it is quickly stopped by Jazaria Taylor here, basically at the line of scrimmage, setting up 3rd and 3. However, Longman navigates the 2 rushers and dumps off to the center, who is listed as number 2, Catherine Schmidt, out of Heston, Kansas here, and she gets the catch and gets a first down to the other 33-yard line. Bethel follows up with a boot right where Longman escapes the rush outside and gets to the 27-yard line. But after an incompletion, they are staring down 3rd and 7, and Longman buys some serious time and rockets one downfield that is going to be caught by number 5 here. And it's actually unfortunate that there's 2 number 5s listed here, but I want to say it was either Taylor Bandera, but I think it was Nevaeh Gonzalez here on the catch all the way to the 6-yard line here. And they follow that up, coming out in a tight formation and call their speed option once again to Tatiana McCollum, who gets the pitch and scores here. Now, they try a 1-point attempt, but that is going to end up being no good. And so the game is tied 6-6 with 1:56 left in the first quarter. Now it's Graceland's ball here, starting at their normal field position, and the quarterback rolls right and finds number 23, who is listed as Micaiah Verdum. I'm so sorry about that, Mrs. Verdum, but she makes the catch here and is just 8 yards short of midfield. Now they are in an empty formation on this next play, and the quarterback takes a shot deep down the right sideline, but is just incomplete here. And on the play, Bethel does have a player go down, number 34, Alexia Ponce. And it's not looking good for her return for the remainder of this game. So on 2nd and 8, it is an empty set here, and Barrios takes off and gains all the way to the 32, collecting a first down along the way. Graceland is lining up fast and gets another playoff, and the quarterback takes off again, this time going for almost 10 yards, and sets up 2nd and 3 with only 10 seconds left in the first quarter. They are lining up fast and call a slant right that is caught once again by Mondino here to end the quarter. Now, on the first play of the second quarter, it is going to be a huge flagpole nearly at the line of scrimmage by Bethel here. And then the next play is a quarterback keeper, and the camera's still a bit zoomed out. But now it is 3rd and goal from about the 5-yard line, and it's a very dangerous pass down the middle as Bethel brings no rushers and dares the quarterback to beat them with her arm. Now on 4th down here, it's going to be a little bit of the same, but this time Barrios capitalizes and lasers one down the middle, but it is dropped here, and so Bethel survives with just a turnover on downs inside of their own territory. Huge red zone stop to keep this as a tie game, and gives them the ball back at their own 5-yard line. Now, on their own 5-yard line, the Threshers jet from left to right, and they call a speed option coming back the other way, and the quarterback pitches, and the tailback bursts ahead for a first down all the way to the 24-yard line. On 1st down here, the quarterback feels pressure and escapes back to the line of scrimmage. And on 2nd down, the pass right is dropped, and Bethel is just leaving a ton of yards on the turf right now with drops here. And so they are facing 3rd down, and Longman is going to keep and run ahead to the 36-yard line, setting up 4th and 4, and Bethel looks like they'll go for it. And, always risky going for it in your own territory, but Bethel feels confident here, and the quarterback on 4th down gets the snap and is scanning, nothing's open. They have great coverage downfield, and finally she sees a crossing route right as the pressure starts to get to her, and she lets it fly, but she was unfortunately baited by Ayana Hanna again here for her 2nd pick of the day, but this time she's going to sprint ahead and go all the way here for a touchdown here, giving Graceland a 13-6 lead after the PAT is good, and a huge momentum shift here for this Yellow Jacket squad. Hannah here with her 2nd pick of the game and with a touchdown puts the Yellow Jackets ahead 13-6 with 7:08 left in the half. Bethel once again starting at the 14-yard line for this next drive here, as it is a nice connection once again to number 11 here, who springs ahead and is tripped up at the Threshers' own 39-yard line. So that's Xavier Mann once again with a huge catch, but an even better run. Now they call a speed option for a first down to the other 38-yard line, but on the next play, they unfortunately bait Longman once again, and Delaney Mondino here makes the interception here, and Graceland has forced 3 turnovers here in the first half here. And Graceland has the ball with about 5 minutes in the half from their own 17-yard line, and is thrown to the flats here to start off this drive, but Regina Mendoza makes a very quick flagpole here to stop it basically at the line of scrimmage. Now, on the run of the very next play, the quarterback has a defender right next to her and lets one fly, and there's 3 Graceland receivers downfield, but it is number 23, Micaiah Verdum here, who catches it and turns on the burners for a 62-yard touchdown. Man, I wish this game was almost at home for Graceland because I bet that crowd would have been absolutely rocking here. That is one of the biggest touchdowns that I have seen this season here. And Graceland goes for 2 and converts, going up 21-6 with 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Bethel here trying to get something positive going before the first half ends here and try and just protect the football a little bit on this drive. And they come off conservative here, starting off with a handoff who actually rips a handoff to number 4, Tatiana McCollum, who rips off an 11-yard gain. Now on the next play, they call a play action and dump off to number 2. Once again, Catherine Schmidt making the catch and getting a short gain. On the next play, 14 keeps left and gains a first down here to keep the drive alive. There's 2.5 minutes to go in the first half, and they call a speed option right that ends up out of bounds at the 30-yard line, so a gain of about 11. A handoff right is sat on by Graceland, and that loses some yards. And on 3rd and 9, the snap is too high, which is just killer, and it is 4th and 16 with less than a minute to go in the half. But Bethel, none deterred from how the last 4th down went in their own territory, they are going to dial up a pass here, and it is going to be Longman once again buying some time and showing off her absolute cannon, pushing it all the way downfield. This time it's going to be caught by number 5 for the touchdown here. And Bethel, going for 2 with shorter yards, has an easy 2-point conversion that they succeed at, with Longman making the race all the way to the pylon here. And it's 14-21 with 43 seconds left in the first half. And honestly, Graceland is going to try and push it down the field here, but some pretty big defensive plays here, like the sack for Bethel, is going to just kill a lot of time here, and unfortunately just keep Graceland out of the end zone. So at the half, Graceland leads Bethel 21-14 with just a ton of opportunistic turnovers here for the Graceland Yellow Jackets team. I know that they left that one red zone trip out there on the field, which always stings here, and Bethel showing some grit, showing some mental toughness here and trying to hang into this game. But Graceland does get the ball to start the second half here. And, Bethel's going to come out a bit aggressive here with Gabriella Stone forcing some good pressure. But Barrios is, she looks calm. She looks cool. She buys some time. And, it ends up being an incompletion anyway. But just showed really good composure against this pass rush that is going to dial it up a little bit here in this second half. Now, after a false start, they are facing down 2nd and 11, but it's going to be a fiery pass down the seam to Amari Bird, who reels it in at the 25 for a first down. Graceland does take a timeout very early here in the second half with 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter to try and dial something up. And at the end of the day, Shyla Barrios ends up just keeping it herself and gaining to the 33-yard line. After that, she hits her receiver in stride on the next play, rolling left for a gain past midfield to the 48-yard line. An incompletion might be the next play, but following that, they call trips right on second down, but then jet motion into a 2x2, and Barrios buys so much time and fakes out a defender and then truly takes off all the way to the 19-yard line, just dancing around this Thresher defense and stinging them right where it hurts here. Now, on this first down in the red zone, they start off with an empty formation, but the slot receiver ends up running an orbit swing route, kind of hybrid-looking thing, and after passing it to her, she catches it and attacks the middle of the field, advancing all the way to the 7-yard line. They then call a jet right to left, and the snap is actually caught by the jet receiver, who then pitches back to the quarterback in a speed option, and Barrios runs it in for the score here. And despite the PAT being no good, that is still a 2-score lead for the Yellow Jackets, now up 27-14 with 6.5 minutes left in the third. This was a big drive that ate up half the quarter here and put Bethel in a spot where they really had to get things going. Now they're starting off conservative once again on this drive, handing off to McCollum, who gains 4 yards, and then they throw a quick out route to Mann, who catches it and is down at the 24-yard line. But on this play, 2 Graceland players collide here, and number 7, that is Ayana Hanna here, is very slow to get up, so we hope that she feels better and that that's nothing too serious here, especially with how much of an impact she was able to make in this game with those 2 picks and a pick 6. But following that, Bethel comes back with a speed option right and a pitch to McCollum, who gets to the 34 on the other side of midfield. But an immediate flagpole on the next play by number 5 slows things down, and Longman is almost baited into another interception, and on 3rd and 12, a pass is dropped, and they will have to punt, unfortunately, in Yellow Jacket territory, which is interesting, but I could see that they're trying to play the field position game here. Graceland, however, starts off with 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and they're on their own 7-yard line. And this very first pass is very risky here and is lucky that it landed incomplete, but Bethel is bringing serious pressure here to try and force a mistake and capitalize off of it. Now on the next play, however, a bootleg freezes the rusher and the quarterback takes off and pitches to number 5, listed as Jazaria Taylor here, who gains all the way to the 26-yard line for a first down. So no longer are they even in their own red zone, but they have more than enough breathing room now. Taylor gets a check down on the very next play and makes a defender miss, gaining all the way to the 48-yard line. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter. And with the fourth quarter starting, Graceland is trying to secure the dub up 2 scores with 2nd and 2 until midfield. On this next play, they flood left into a little shovel pass to number 21. That can't be right because there's no one listed as 21. Well, the stream was a little far away, but it's shoveled ahead for a first down. Now, after an incompletion here on a deep shot to the right, Barrios throws, landing out of bounds, by the way, is a good thing, showing, a little bit of mental preparedness, where if she's going to miss, she missed outside and deep, so that's perfect. But she follows that up with a tough throw over the middle, but maybe even a tougher catch by Grace Jensen, the junior out of Rosemount, Minnesota here, making a big catch and lands only 3 yards away from a first down and the red zone. Now, the pass rush forces an incompletion on first down here, but Barrios probably should just shake it off and get the first down here, as the pass rush kind of left a lot of open green to her right, but she's just trying to keep her eyes downfield, and they want to go for it here with just under 10 minutes left in the ball game. And with an empty set, they get an easy pass to Taylor in the flats that gains a first down. Now, they throw a hitch to the right that is caught and ran to the 10-yard line, inside of the 10-yard line even, and sets up 2nd and 7. And Barrios on this 2nd and 7 takes off, splitting 2 defenders and scores. And after a handoff to Taylor is good for a 1 point. It is now a 34-14 lead with 8 minutes and 1 second left. It is starting to look a little too out of reach for Bethel here, but they got to play for pride and they got to keep putting their pedal to the metal if they even want a slight chance. Now, they do come out throwing with a bootleg. This is completed to McCollum kind of through the middle of the field here, who gains all the way to the 33-yard line. So big gain on first down to set up a nice drive here. Now, Longman will keep rolling right here on the next play and set up 2nd and 2. On 2nd and 2, they jet right to left, and Longman holds onto the ball for a while, but finds 5 deep again this time. Caught, but only after she's in the red zone, and leaving 10 yards for the Threshers until the promised land. However, on first down, the handoff is fumbled, and they push themselves back to a 2nd and 14 here, and Longman is forced to keep it and run all the way to the 8-yard line. Now, on third down, it is an incompletion, and on 4th and 8, there is 4 minutes and 22 seconds left here, and the Threshers call a run play on 4th and 8, and it doesn't work, but they get absolutely bailed out with a stripping penalty here, and they get a second chance, and they take a timeout here to reevaluate that with 3:56 left, and it is 4th and 4 until the goal line here, and they line up at the same formation, and I'm a little worried about them calling the exact same play twice in a row, but they do not. They dial up something nice that gets Catherine Schmidt wide open, and Longman finds her for the score here, and after a 1-point PAT is good. Bethel now trails 21-34, but with under 4 minutes to go, it might be too little too late. And I even note that barring a disaster, Graceland should be able to bleed a lot of this clock and win. And they do so, starting off with a hitch pass to Mondino, who catches, and after 3 flagpoles, she gets all the way to the 29-yard line. Barrios scrambles around crazy style, bleeding some serious clock in the process, and gets ahead and sets up a 2nd and 7 with about 2.5 minutes to go. Now they call an orbit speed option left that is ran and gained past midfield, but we unfortunately have another Thresher here who gets injured on the play. Mariana Johnson, it looks like, who needs to be helped off the field with a weird limp. And once again, we hope that she is healthy and hopefully it's nothing too serious. But I digress here. They are continuing to bleed the clock, just kind of dotting up receivers here and there to get inside of the red zone. And Graceland calls a hurry up, which is pretty interesting here, that ends in a Barrios rushing touchdown and puts them up 40-21, which is going to be the final score of this game. So Graceland and Bethel, they're both going to be moving up in my power rankings. Be sure to listen to Coach V here and his segment coming up soon on where we see all of these teams and where our composite rankings land. But I have been your host for this segment, Kodey Stauffer, and thank you for listening to all of our flag football action.
All right, now let's talk about Baker versus Southwestern, or should I say number 10 Baker versus number 18 Southwestern. Baker, with a mixed bag of wins and losses here. They are 1-3 going into this one. Their last win being over a first-year program, William and Woods here. And then for Southwestern, I believe this is their first game. I don't think they played a game before this one. So their season opener for them. Now, honestly, this game just really wasn't that close. Final score of this one would be Baker 34, Southwestern 12. It was 28-6 at halftime here. And here's how we got there. Tara Lorente would find Sanaya Waller on a 57-yard touchdown pass to get them going. Then it would be a Sanaya Waller touchdown run to put them up 14-0. Now, to Southwestern's credit, they would get a 71-yard pass from freshman Kennedy Hayes to Davina Little. That would put them on the board, would not be able to get the PAT. But right after that, they would go ahead and score. Baker would score thanks to a very long touchdown from Gabriela Zabaleta to put them up 21-6 here. Yeah, that one would pretty much be over here. Baker continues their hot streak as, now they're on a 2-game winning streak. And then Southwestern, a kind of a tough go. They play a Baker team who was pretty battle-hardened going into this game, having played 4 more games than them. And that's tough for them to do that. Plus, on top of that, you got to remember they are losing some players here from last year. Specifically, Miranda Dooley was not playing. But, before we talk about them, let's go ahead and look at the stats here for Baker. Tara Lorente, 14 of 27, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Kaylee Phillips was credited with a 66-yard touchdown. Sanaya Waller, 3 of 3 for a 63 yards and a touchdown there. You also have Waller with 43 rushing yards and a touchdown. Had a really good game, honestly, and I would say your playmaker of the game, having done it all for them, and that's just how valuable she is for them, just being a good utility player that does everything, because Waller had 63 yards, passing yards, and a touchdown. She also had 43 rushing yards and a touchdown, and then 53 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. So she threw, rushed, and caught for a touchdown, which is actually insane here. Anyways, going back to the stats, Zabaleta 6'4", 84 and 2 touchdowns. Kaylee Phillips 4'4", 76 and a touchdown for them. Defensively for Baker, it looks like Kayla Harrison led with 5 tackles, a sack as well. Kaylee Phillips had an interception in this game. I think one of the only ones there. So that's pretty good. Now for Southwestern, looking at them, Kennedy Hayes, 9 of 20 for 129 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Amira Parker also got in there, 5 for 12 for 58 yards and a touchdown. Davina Little was their leading receiver here, 2 receptions for 75 yards and a touchdown, most of that coming on a 71-yard touchdown. Mary Jones had a 44-yard receiving touchdown, and then you had Tegan Smith with 3 for 35. On defense for Southwestern, Tegan Smith led with 8 tackles and a sack. Andrea Moon with 5 here. Olivia Manfrey had her first interception, college interception, so there you go there. But other than that, not much going for Southwestern, as once again they fall to Baker 34-12. Moving on, we got a very quick recap of St. Mary versus Cottey College here. Going into this game, St. Mary was 20, Cottey was 18, and then I believe St. Mary was coming off of a win, Cottey coming off of a loss to Graceland. Now, I could not watch the majority of this game, unfortunately. The live stream was kind of acting weird, and it was down for a good amount of it, and then by the time it came up, it was 20-0, and then I guess it stopped in the fourth quarter, so that's great. But, I mean, it says here that Cottey beat St. Mary 20-0. Does not look like it was close here. Maya Carula, a very efficient game, 16 of 22, 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had 21 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. I think that's your obvious playmaker of the game right there. Laurencia Botts led with 7 receptions, 96 yards and a touchdown. Tamaya Squire, 4 for 31 and a touchdown. On defense for them, Carla Martinez led with 8, right behind Maya Carula, who added on another 7, and also Maya Carula with a sack there as well, doing it all. Speaking of sacks, Carla Martinez, Jonathan Tolentino also had sacks, and then Tamaya Squire with an interception. So, very good outing for Cottey. For St. Mary, on the other hand, they came off a very good win over Pratt Community College, and then just kind of struggled in this one, which is tough. Anaya Hooks, 6 of 17, 94 yards and 1 interception. Ariana Rivera got in at quarterback, which is interesting, 4 of 5 for 27 yards here. As far as receivers go, Brooklyn Hill led with 4 receptions for 47 yards, so at least she's kind of going. She had a nice game against Pratt the other day, so there you go. Yana Harris with 3 for 21, and then just not much going for St. Mary other than that. On defense, Braylee Chris led with 5 tackles, it looks like here. So that's pretty good there. She also had a sack and then no interceptions for St. Mary as they fall to Cottey, which is a tough way to go if you're St. Mary, because that definitely moves you. It will move them down the rankings. So there's that. We'll see if they could bounce back. For Cottey, though, they play on Wednesday against Ottawa, and then they play Kansas Wesleyan on Saturday. So a very rough week ahead against the top dogs of the KCAC. We'll see how they handle stuff after that. But after that, they play Southwestern and Graceland, which could be interesting there. So we'll see what happens. But final score, Cottey wins 20-0 over St. Mary. All right, moving on, we have Reinhardt. They would play one more game on this Saturday against Emmanuel College, and they would win big, 46-6 here. Just looking at the box score, good comeback for them. Isabella DePiece looks like she had a great day. 13 of 17, 213 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kaylee Kent, 8 of 14, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick though. And then DePiece also had a rushing touchdown and 35 rushing yards. Kaylee Kent with 21 rushing yards and a touchdown there. So very interesting. Will be interesting to see if maybe one of those quarterbacks could take over and take over that starting spot permanently. So there you go there. Janiyah Thomas led with 4 receptions for 97 yards and a touchdown. Nicole Arus, 7 for 67. And then you also had Victoria Salmon with a touchdown. Blythe Townsend with 2 receiving touchdowns. And DePiece also had a receiving touchdown. So she also had a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown game, which is very good for them. For Reinhardt, Blue McFarland led with 4 tackles. Jayla Sessions with a sack here, and then no interceptions for them as they get a pretty big win here. I want to say for Reinhardt, this is their second win this season here. Sorry, their first win this season. But having played tough teams in Thomas and Campbellsville definitely does not help with that. So there you go. Now let's talk about Emmanuel here. A struggle in their first year starting out here. Lillian Stevenson, 14 of 27, 144 yards and a passing touchdown. No picks though. Kylie Young led with 2 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. On defense, Naomi Drake had 6 tackles, followed by Poppy Goffin, with 5 tackles. And then Drake also had an interception there as well. So pretty good for them, but obviously not enough as Reinhardt gets their first win of the season. All right, now talking about one of the, if not the last game from Saturday, March 1st, we got number 11 Campbellsville versus number 10 Milligan. Both teams won earlier this Saturday, and both teams undefeated going into this one. Campbellsville 1-0, and then Milligan 3-0 going into this game. And so this is going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and hop into it. First quarter, Milligan starts on offense. Bridget Keiser at quarterback throws the swing route right to Ashton Weirley, who makes it 2nd and 4. Following that, Keiser rolls left and finds Krista Quinn in the flats, who slips the first defender and then accelerates for a big-time gain of 32 to make it 1st and 12 past midfield. First down here past midfield, Keiser throws right to Weirley, who slips a couple more defenders and is almost loose for a touchdown, but is just stopped short here. Campbellsville kind of struggling with flag pulling early, but also Milligan just being shifty here. So now it's 1st and 12, but this time in the red zone, 12 yards away from a touchdown. Here's what happens on first down. Keiser goes left to Krista Quinn on the short hitch. That goes for 2. She then finds Sarah Rancorn on the drag, who takes kind of a tough hit here it wasn't like a hit on purpose, but it was just someone trying to grab the flag here, as there's a lot of energy going on in this game. That goes for 5. 3rd and 5 here. Keiser throws high right on the fade route, but it is just off the mark. So now that brings up 4th down here, and on 4th down, Milligan gets snap, but it looks like J.C. Harper for Campbellsville gets the stop for a big turnover on downs. I want to say on a sack here. And so Campbellsville has a 1st and 7. In at quarterback to start this one, it would be Journey Knowles, and on first down, it would be a drop. On second down, a little bit of a hesitated throw here, but Knowles finds Annalise Beecher, who then tries to pitch it, but it is basically the same spot where she would have been 3rd and 1 here. On 3rd and 1, they go ahead and direct snap it to Presley Payne. She gives them a 1st down. 1st and 17 here. Knowles, or at least I believe it's Knowles. Like I said in the last recap, she was wearing a black jersey / wrap that covered her number, but I believe it's her. She goes ahead and throws the drag route to, this time, Angeline Beecher to make it 2nd and 10. She then checks it down to Itzan Rojas Gibbs to make it 3rd and 5. Then following that, 3rd down here, Knowles hesitates a little bit and then throws it to Carly Troutman left. It looks like her arm gets hit on the pass, though. Troutman still brings in the pass to her credit for a really nice gain, but they will also tag on a roughing the passer penalty. So now it's 1st and 4 past midfield, about 26 yards on that one. First down here, Presley Payne on the direct snap. This time tries to throw it, but it is incomplete, so that brings up 2nd. On 2nd, Campbellsville throws the fade route left, but Ashton Weirley is there step for step, and it's incomplete. So now that brings up 3rd here, and Knowles throws the drag route right to Angie Beecher, who then gives them the 1st down in the red zone, just barely though. It's 1st and 20. 1st and 20 here as Campbellsville is rolling. Knowles rolls left and then throws it away. 2nd down here. She throws the out route right to J.C. Harper, who goes for 5. Following that, 3rd and 15, last play before the end of the first, Knowles steps up and throws the dig, but this one is just out of reach here. She was open. So that's unfortunate. It's 2nd down, though, for Campbellsville not 2nd down. It's the 2nd quarter for Campbellsville to start here, 4th and 15 at the top. Here's what happens. Knowles throws the drag route to Harper, but she is stopped well short of the touchdown. So that's a turnover on downs here. Still tied at 0s. Milligan with the 1st and 8 though. 1st down and 8. Bridget Keiser finds Caitlin Quinn quick left in the flats. That goes for about 3. She then finds Rancorn right, who makes a play, but a holding call, I think, thrown against Campbellsville will now make it a Milligan 1st and 7 approaching midfield. On 1st down here, Keiser finds Jessica Hudson on the curl left. That gives them the 1st down past midfield, so now 1st and 20 here. On 1st down and 20, Keiser rifles one off platform to Bethany Stevens, who makes a nice pass here that goes for 9. And then, by the way, Milligan's going tempo here. They went tempo on their last drive, so this is pretty quick. On 2nd and 11, Milligan or Keiser throws to Sam Urso, who makes a couple players miss for what would have been a 1st down, but a penalty would be thrown against Milligan. That backs them up. It's now 2nd and 21. On 2nd down here, Keiser scans, going through her reads, and eventually finds the Aspen lot deep on the corner left to make it 1st and 9 in the red zone. Beautiful play here by Bridget Keiser to be patient and then throw a nice pass here going through her reads. So There you go there. 1st and 9 in the red zone. Keiser throws a slant to Reinhardt. She goes for 4. Following an incompletion here, Keiser does a good job going through reads again, moving players with her eyes before coming back to Krista Quinn over the middle for the touchdown to make it 6-0. Masterful drive by Bridget Keiser on this one. There's a trick play here ran by Milligan on the PAT, but it's incomplete. And that's all you got to know. For Campbellsville, they will get the ball here. Corinne Talkington now in at quarterback. 1st down, it's a drop. 2nd down, it's a check down to JC Harper. That goes for 3. 3rd down, Talkington throws quick left here. That goes for a 1st down, 1st and 20. On 1st down and 20 here, Talkington throws it, but it looks like there's a miscommunication here near the right sideline between Harper and Beecher, so that ends up being incomplete. 2nd down, it's a quick swing pass left to Payne, but she only gets 5. And then 3rd down is a slant to Angie Beecher, but she's well covered and it's almost tipped up and picked off. Instead, it's 4th down. They'll punt it. Milligan, they take over here. 1st and 10 approaching midfield, and they would actually eventually get in the red zone. First off, thanks to a 4th and 10 play here where the snap count would result in a free play where Keiser would find Weirley on the quick hitter who would get the 1st down here. But obviously, even if she didn't get it, they would have to run that one again potentially or have another shot at it. Instead, it's the 1st and 15 in the red zone as Milligan is looking to score right before half. And so here's what happens. On 1st down, Keiser just kind of stares down Reinhardt and throws it into double coverage. Luckily, that is just incomplete. 2nd down would also be incomplete here. And then on 3rd down, Keiser under pressure throws a dangerous pass off her back foot here. It's caught, but it is short and time runs out as it is a 6-0 lead here for Milligan. A couple red zone trips by both teams. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, all their drives are red zone trips except for Campbellsville's last drive in the 2nd. And so here in the 3rd quarter, though, Campbellsville, they will start with it. And here's what happens. It's Journey Knowles now back in at quarterback. She finds it's on Rojas Gibbs for 5. She then zips a pass over the middle of the defense to Carly Troutman on an absolute dot to make it 1st and 4 approaching midfield. They then go ahead and put Presley Payne in. It's a direct snap to Payne, who then pitches it back to Knowles, who then throws it to Autumn Spain for a nice 1st down past midfield. 1st and 14. Campbellsville is rolling. On 1st down, Knowles lofts one over the defender left to Yanela Quiros, who then makes it 2nd and 3. It's then a quick pass right to Presley Payne in the flats, who slides forward to get them into the red zone again. So 1st and 17 in the red zone. On 1st down, Knowles throws the quick slant right to Angie Beecher, who makes it 2nd and 10. She then throws the quick right throw here to Kiris on the out route, but she was just not looking for the pass here. She might have been able to score, so that's incomplete, a tough missed opportunity. On 3rd down here, it's a direct snap to Presley Payne, and she makes an ill-advised pass to throw it under pressure, which is promptly picked off by Blakely Ollis, who almost goes to the house. But luckily for Campbellsville, Presley Payne is able to hawk her down and save the pick 6. It is a 1st and 8 for Milligan past midfield as they are looking to go up 2 scores. On 1st down here, Keiser throws the curl left here to Reinhardt that goes for 7. They then go ahead and run a rare play action here. Keiser going through our reads, finds Weirley in the flats here, who makes it 1st and 10 in the red zone, some nice yards after the catch. 1st down here in the red zone, Keiser rolling left finds Quinn here, Krista Quinn here, who is just short of the touchdown at 2nd and 1. But on 2nd down, Keiser throws the out route to Sarah Reinhardt on the money and rhythm left to give them the 12-0 lead here. Great route, great throw here. They would throw the swing route right to Weirley on the PAT, but this time she would not be able to slip a tackle. So they take the 2-score lead here, but no PAT. Now, Campbellsville with the ball. They go ahead and put in Corinne Talkington in. It looks like they're rotating quarterbacks. Not running really anything different from what the other quarterbacks are running on this roster here. But Talkington on 1st down throws it deep to a wide open Beecher, but the throw is just flat here, not enough air, and it's actually almost picked off. So it's not only a missed opportunity, but it's almost a turnover. Instead, though, it's incomplete. So that brings up second down. That's one that Campbellsville wanted back there. So, second down here, Talkington throws the out route left to Spain. That goes for 6. Then direct snap it to Payne here, who gets them the first down. Just barely, but gets it. First and 20 here, approaching midfield. Payne on the direct snap, runs it, then pitches it back to Talkington, who then throws it back to Payne, who then rices up the left sideline to go for a nice 10-yard gain here. Second and 10, Talkington then scrambles right. That goes for 5. They then call a timeout here, which is tough considering you need all your timeouts being down multiple scores. But timeout here, 3rd and 5. Talkington finds J.C. Harper right, who gives them the first down, 1st and 19 past midfield. And then to end the third quarter, it would be incomplete. So to start the fourth quarter, 2nd and 19 past midfield for Campbellsville. They're down 12-0, trying to get back in it. Here's what happens here. Talkington scanning, hesitates to throw here, and that is a massive mistake because Sam Urso makes her pay with a huge sack here to make it 3rd and 23 here. On 3rd and 23, though, Corey Talkington makes up for it. Gets a snap, steps up, zips one on the post to Carly Troutman on a huge gain here for about 33 yards. It's now 1st and 10 in the red zone. A great play by the freshman to bounce back from there. So, 1st down and 10 in the red zone. Talkington goes ahead and finds Troutman on the out route for 5. Following that, Talkington just throws this one away as the coverage is there and is covering everyone and does not want to take a sack. So now it's 3rd down here. On 3rd, Talkington rolls out right and just does not see anybody open. Basically just throws it away here, which is kind of over the middle. Maybe she was trying to throw it into the ground, but still a little bit dangerous. And then kind of tries to argue with the ref for PI here, but I think it's her 2 receivers that bumped into each other that caused neither of them to get open. So that's tough here, but that brings up 4th down, and Campbellsville badly needs a score. Here's what happens. Corinne Talkington with the snap, sidesteps the first rusher, and then runs left where she reaches out and just barely gets in to make it 12-6 here. PAT is no good though, but it is a 6-point game. Campbellsville got the score that they needed. And so Milligan with the ball here, looking to not only use up some time, but maybe even potentially score and put this one away. So here's what happens. 1st down, Keiser scrambles left before pitching it back. Might have lost her some yards, but still got them the 1st down. 1st and 20 here. It's a handoff right to Weirley, who goes for 6. Following that, Keiser checks it down, throws it left to Krista Quinn. That goes for no gain. They then go ahead and snap it on 3rd and 14. Keiser with the ball throws the wheel route left to Weirley. She gets a nice gain here, a 1st and 19 past midfield. A good throw and a good route here by Weirley. On 1st down here, Keiser with the snap, scrambles left before pitching it kind of late to Sam Urso, and then there's a rough collision here as the defender was going for the pull, but did take the legs out under from Sam Urso, and she unfortunately will get hurt in this one. Not able to return back to the game here, so that's tough. Hoping all the best for her. And so in at center will go ahead and I believe be a freshman here, Lexi Kyle. So she's now in at center, but here's what happens after that. Milligan still looking to put this one away. Keiser gets snapped, throws it right to Weirley in the flats. She gets a couple, so now it's 3rd and 10 here. So 3rd down and 10. Milligan doesn't need all of it, but some of it would help. On the snap, Keiser gets it and throws a dot to the corner right to Sarah Rancorn, who makes a physical catch, knocking over the DB and running it in for the touchdown to the house to give Milligan the huge 18-6 lead. Not even bad defense here, but Rancorn just went up and got it, and she got them the touchdown as well. This one got the Milligan sideline fired up here, and that is just a great play on the PAT. It's a great job by Bridget Keiser to come back to Caitlin Quinn on the slant left, and that's a completion there as Bridget Keiser in her bag to make it 19-6, and that feels like the knockout blow. But if Campbellsville could get a quick score, then maybe they could make something happen. And so for this drive, it'll be Journey Knowles. This is like the second. It's like it feels like the millionth change at quarterback here. But anyways, it's a direct snap to Payne, who then pitches it back to Knowles, who gets 4. Following that, it's a check down to Payne, who gives them the first down, 1st and 17. Knowles on first down, then throws the drag left, this time to Autumn Spain to make it 2nd and 14. On second down here, Knowles buying some time, finds Angie Beecher right. That goes for a nice gain here of about 9 here, so 3rd and 5. Third down here, Knowles throws to Rojas Gibbs to make it 1st and 19 past the midfield. Then on first down, Knowles scrambles up the middle, a nifty scramble with a couple of spins and sidesteps, goes for 12 here. They then call a timeout, and then out of the timeout, Amani Scott, the freshman, is subbed in. It did not look like Journey Knowles was hurt here. So this is very interesting here. 2nd and 7 with Amani Scott in at quarterback. She gets pressured by 2 Milligan rushers, and she's forced to throw this one away. So that brings up 3rd down. She's still in. 3rd down here. Scott throws the out route right to Angie Beecher. That makes it a 1st and 17 in the red zone here. On 1st down and 17, Scott gets a snap, throws a laser on the dig route, and the pass is not able to be handled by the receiver, bounces off of her, and is tipped up and intercepted by Ashton Weirley, who catches it off the tip, and she's off to the races, and she is gone to the house for the pick 6 as Milligan is going crazy on the sidelines, and this one will be the nail in the coffin. They get the PAT here as Milligan wins this one 26-6. Playmaker of the game, I think it could have went to a lot of different players, but I think for me it has to be Bridget Keiser here. This was a closer game than it looked here, and it wasn't until the end where they were able to really pull away here. Campbellsville was hanging in there, so shout out them. But let's talk about Milligan first. Bridget Keiser, your playmaker of the game, 26 of 32, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. She did a good job going through her reads, making quick throws, accurate passes, running that tempo over there, slowing it down. She did a great job in this game. This was a masterclass performance from her, a signature game, if you will. The receiving core also did a great job as well. Ashton Weirley had herself a game, 8 receptions, 90 yards. That led the team. Sarah Rancorn, 7 for 60 yards there, and then 2 receiving touchdowns, including that big physical one in the 4th that just was a morale breaker for Campbellsville there. Krista Quinn also had 5 for 49 and a touchdown in this game here. On defense for Milligan, they played well. Quinn and Weirley both led with 5 tackles. Weirley, though, with that 70-yard pick 6, which ended that game. Blakely Ollis with a 41-yard interception in this one with 4 tackles. And then you had Jessica Hudson and Sam Urso with a sack each here. So, great game by Milligan. They looked really good in this game. I saw them in their first game against Point. You know, there's some things to clean up. This game, they were on point against Campbellsville here and just looked really good. Offensively, they're clicking. They had so many playmakers step up. Weirley, Rancorn, Quinn, Yasmin Lott with her 29-yard reception. Sam Urso, before she got hurt, made some plays, which was to be expected, right? But they were really good. They were really sharp on offense here, and you gotta love that. On defense, I thought they were very good as well, very opportunistic. A lot of athletes over there that did a good job here, and, you know, you gotta give Campbellsville some credit, too. They sustained some good drives. They just couldn't get it done thanks to how well this Milligan defense was playing. This might have been the best they've played ever that I've seen. So, you know, that is huge there. It really looks like this Milligan team as a whole has taken a step forward developmentally, and I'm very high on them. So there you go. For Campbellsville, once again, I don't know why these stats are like showing me Reinhardt players. Shout out Reinhardt and whatever they're doing over there, which is frustrating. But for Campbellsville, you know, they had their shot, right? I think the bigger story, though, might be, I mean, it's only their second game. They're 1-1, so it's not the worst thing. And it's against a good team in Milligan here that they lost. But I think the biggest story here is probably, you know, the quarterback competition or controversy they have there. Because like I said, it did not look like any of these quarterbacks were like special package quarterbacks. It looked like all of them were running the same plays, and I would even still say most of them did a good job, and that none of them threw any picks, one of them threw an interception. The first one, though, was not a pick that a quarterback threw. That was from Presley Payne, which is just unfortunate. And then the second one, the pass was on the money. If she didn't bobble it, it would have been, a big gain or maybe even a score. But instead it went the other way, popped up in the air. Ashton Weirley took it to the house, and that sucks. That definitely sucks here. But it's going to be interesting to see what Campbellsville does moving forward. These first two games, they rotated quarterbacks, which I think is very interesting, between Amani Scott, Journey Knowles, and Corinne Talkington. And all of them, I thought, had some nice plays here where they kept drives alive. They put them in positions to score. Campbellsville, just looking at this here, they had 1, 2, 3, and then I believe 4 red zone trips, which was pretty good against a team like Milligan, who was playing good defense. And unfortunately, they went 1 out of 4, scored 1 out of 4 times on those red zone trips, and then 2 of those red zone trips were turnovers, both interceptions, 1 a pick 6. And that definitely probably comes more so from having instability at the quarterback position and just not being able to go with a quarterback consistently for one reason or another. And so that basically costed them the game, I would say. Defensively as well, you could have also stopped Milligan, but I thought the defense played relatively well, for the most part, and they didn't play as bad as it could have been. It didn't look like there were a bunch of missed assignments, some missed flagpoles for sure, though, which I think you definitely want to fix, but that's definitely fixable. I think offensively, it's just tough. It's disappointing to have 4 red zone trips and only have 1 touchdown from that. And so I think they'll be fine. That makes Campbellsville a very interesting team here, because I feel like even though they lost by 20, this was a very close game here, a winnable one against a team in Milligan who was on fire, and I think has justified themselves as a top 10 team in the country. So with all those things considered, we'll see what Campbellsville does at quarterback moving forward. But sooner than later, they probably got to settle on one. For Milligan, looked great all around. We'll continue to build on that. So there you go there. But there you have it. Number 10, Milligan beats number 11, Campbellsville, 26-6.
And the last recap that I have from the action this past week took place on Sunday, February 2nd here. And, it was just, I'm just going to kind of box score this one as K-Dub gets an absolutely massive win over fellow KCAC team William Woods University. They did get to play this game at home and would win this one 52-0 after scoring a ton of points in the first half here. They would just kind of run away. And just looking at some notable performances, I'll start with the William Woods side here. Mackenzie Hicks got the start at QB, 14 of 31 for 75 yards. Just had a few turnovers here. And then also added on 18 yards of rushing on the day. As far as receivers go, Adeline Chalik, probably saying that wrong, had 4 receptions for 27 yards, and Kennedy Van Noy had 4 receptions for 22 yards. Shout out Maddie Jones, who also had 4 receptions. And then defensively, just kind of spread out as far as the flagpoles went. So now looking at the Kansas Wesleyan side, Angel Roman had a pick, Shania Marape had a pick, Aaliyah Oliver had a pick. There were a few PBUs from Alexa Mansour and Samari McKinney. Offensively, they were just going nuts. Chihiro went 16 of 25 for 182 yards and 6 passing touchdowns to no picks. And then they had a couple of other attempts here, as Emily Bull went 1 of 5 for 6 yards and a touchdown as well. And then as far as receivers who feasted today, Aaliyah Wood, 3 receptions, 38 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jasmine Whitfield, 2 receptions, 14 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lola Randolph with a receiving touchdown. Addison Cadwell, shout out PMC fam, Colorado represent, with a receiving touchdown. And Soraya Tafua here also listed as a touchdown recipient. So yeah, that was a big game for K-Dub, especially bouncing back from that loss to Ottawa on Saturday. So now they are 3-2 on the season here, including that KCAC preseason tournament. So shout out to the Yotes, and we'll see how the season continues to treat them.
All right, now let's go ahead and talk about Playmaker of the Week for Week 2. This is out of all the NAIA athletes that played flag football in the country this last week here. Shout out Code Red Coaching as they bring you Playmaker of the Week here. Find them at coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914 to learn more today. Like I said, check out coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914 today. So shout out Code Red Coaching there. They bring us your Week 2 Playmaker of the Week. And there's a lot of players to choose from per usual. If you just listen to all of our recaps, we talk about playmakers of the game, and so all of those players were players that we kept in mind for Playmaker of the Week, as well as some other ones. But I think this week it was pretty clear that there was a player that kind of rose above the other ones in terms of performances, and that's Keiser's senior quarterback Haley Young here in her first season as the full-time starter here in Week 2. Keiser would go ahead and they would play number 5 Warner and number 4 St. Thomas and beat both of them, largely in part to the performance of Haley Young. Against Warner, she played a near perfect game, 31 of 38, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns for them in that game, where they would end up pulling away after kind of a close one there. They would end up pulling away 20-6. 2 of those passing touchdowns came in the fourth quarter to go ahead and seal that one, so that was huge. And then a couple days later, she would go ahead and play St. Thomas, and while that wasn't a near perfect game, still had a great performance, 23 of 28 for 262 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions in that one. That one was not as close, as they would go ahead and beat down St. Thomas 34-7 here. But she's played great all season. I think this is very well deserved here. So there you go. There, your Code Red Coaching Week 2 Playmaker of the Week is Keiser's senior quarterback Haley Young. All right, now let's talk about our last segment here outside of our outro. Obviously, we got your NAIA Week 2 PMC rankings here. So watched a lot of flag football this last weekend. A lot of teams got to play, and myself, Kodey, and Gino produced these rankings for y'all. In case you forgot how it works out, myself, Kodey, Gino each rank all the teams in NAIA Women's College Flag Football 1 through 22. If they're ranked at 1, they get 22 points, 2, 21, 3, 20, and that's by any of us, by the way. And then I go ahead and average it out by adding up all the points. The program with the most points is closer to the top. So let's go ahead and hop into this one. But before we do, let's recap last week's rankings. So after week 1, we had at 22 Graceland, 21 Bethel, 20 St. Mary, 19 Florida Memorial, 18 Cottey, 17 Southwestern, 16 Siena Heights, 15 Point. Tied for 13 still was Reinhardt and William Woods, 12 was Life, 11 Campbellsville, 10 Milligan, 9 Baker, 8 Midland, 7 Kansas Wesleyan, 6 Weber, 5 Warner, 4 St. Thomas, 3 Thomas, 2 Keiser, and at number 1 was Ottawa. Now this week we had a lot of changes here, so let's just go ahead and get into it. At 22, dropping 3 spots here in our PMC rankings is Florida Memorial. This is what Gino had to say about FMU. Still no wins yet for the Lions. Kodey just wrote down LOL for FMU here, and that is it. Yeah, still winless. They, played Weber closer, which was better for sure here, but compared to some of these other teams, some of these other teams have at least beat community college programs, or we just feel better about them in general here. So there is that, but right now they are 22nd. We'll see if they could continue to get better and overtake some of these other teams. At 21, dropping a spot is St. Mary here. They did beat Pratt Community College, and then they lost to Cottey. This is what Kodey had to say about St. Mary. He said, losing to Cottey, Oof, that's it. Gino said bad loss to Cottey has the Spires sliding back into irrelevancy in the KCAC. So there you go, which is a shame because I thought they played pretty well against Pratt Community College. Maybe that says more about Pratt, but obviously a loss to Cottey like this, and it wasn't even a close loss, is not good at all. So there is that. Now moving on here, let's go ahead and get to number 20, and we have Bethel, who moves up a spot, having played a couple games or a game so far. This is what Gino had to say about Bethel, who he actually has ranked last in his personal rankings. He says Bethel is still looking to get over that hump, being a new team in a tough conference, a newer team in a tough conference. Those wins will come eventually. Kodey had this to say about Bethel. He moved up a couple. He said, while they moved up just a little bit, this program shows flashes and just need to stay tough, but the lack of depth combined with some injuries in the Graceland game is a little worrisome. Kendall Longman has got herself an arm, but we'll have to learn not to get baited so easily, especially against better opponents. So there you go, but Bethel definitely getting better, which is what you like to see here. Moving on, at 19 is Cottey, who actually moves down a spot here. Gino said this about Cottey. He said a nice win over St. Mary, as Cottey staying around the same spot they were in last week. That's what Gino said in his personal rankings. Kodey just said they beat USM, so there you go there. There was a team that moved up, which is why they moved down technically. But, you know, a win is a win. You got to feel good about that. They're not winless so far. At 18 is now Southwestern, who played one game and lost, so they moved down a spot. Gino says that loss to Baker was a bad one, and definitely not the way you want to start off your season. Kodey said this about Southwestern, lost to Baker but still want to see more. And I kind of agree, it's hard to gauge these teams who are playing other squads who are obviously top teams in their conference and have more experience as they played 3 or 4 more games than them already. And so, tough there. But also, you know, Southwestern does look a little bit light over there, is all I'm going to say. I will also say this, though. Does not look like Viviana Solis played in that game. I don't think I saw her, and I'm looking through the box score just to make sure here, and I do not see her name. Maybe I don't know, maybe they just messed up, right? But I do not see her name on here, so that's obviously tough to lose without her, but that's probably also a testament to their depth right now. So there you go there. They do technically move down a spot here, but if they get Solis back, they should definitely be better and should be better than 18. Now at 17 is Siena Heights, who does move down a spot. Did not play this week. They actually play on Monday, the 3rd, when this episode hopefully should be out here. And they only moved down because one team moved up, which y'all will see soon. Now at 15, we still have a tie between Reinhardt and William Woods here, which I think is interesting. Let's start with William Woods. This is what Gino had to say. Still no wins yet for William Woods, but we know that this program is headed in the right direction. Kodey says this: you can see the first year in this on this program and players, but it's too early to punish them a lot, especially with one of the most brutal schedules I've seen to start a program, which I gotta agree, they play all the top dogs in the KCAC to start, which are all top 10 teams. Obviously, you got Baker here, who's top 10. You have Kansas Wesleyan, who's top 10. And then you have Ottawa, who's number 1 for the foreseeable future. So that's not going to be easy, but it does get easier after that. And I think it'll be more fair to judge them afterwards. But, you know, losses are losses here. We'll see what happens. Now, Reinhardt is a little bit of a different story. Gino said this: no NAIA wins yet for the Eagles, and I'm not sure if they'll get one until they play Point in a few weeks. Even then, though, I don't know. That's me saying the I don't know personally part. Kodey said this about Reinhardt: getting whooped by a QB carousel is a tough look here. And, yeah, I mean, they've beat a lot of non-NAIA teams, which also happen to be a lot of first-year programs, or, you know, very young programs, but they haven't beat any NAIA teams. And so right now, they feel a lot closer to William Woods, who's getting blown out by contenders than anything. So we'll see what happens here in the next couple weeks, though. Now, at 14 is Point, who does move up a spot. Let's start with Kodey. He had this to say about Point. Shout out to Point for taking care of business against community colleges and first-year programs, but losing by over 100 combined points in your last two contests is not a great look. Gino had this to say about Point. No NAIA wins for Point yet, but they are taking care of business against some JUCOs, so that's nice. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, they've also had a tough couple games. Playing Thomas, they weren't going to beat him. And then playing Florida Gateway, who could beat a lot of the teams on this list, would probably be a top 10, if not top 5 team. I think top 5 is crazy. Top 8 team. That's a good squad. So losing to them is not the biggest deal either, but they do got to get rolling here. They have some talent, and they got some solid coaching. I think once they play teams that are a little bit closer to their level, it'll be a lot easier to differentiate from there. So there you go. Now at 13, we have a team that is skyrocketing up these rankings, and at 13 is now Graceland, who moves up 9 spots. Granted, they haven't played up until this week here, but, we were very low on them. They now shoot up 9 spots here, and it might be an overreaction, but listen to some of our reasons first. Let's start with Kodey. He says the biggest riser for NAIA this week, and maybe ever, for me. He said pretty darn close, as they have great athletes in the secondary who double as playmakers on offense, and Barrios, their quarterback, definitely impressed me. Congratulations to the Yellow Jackets on winning their first game in program history and then made it an undefeated weekend. Gino had this to say about Graceland. I am just as shocked as you are that Graceland has climbed all the way into the top 14 after never winning a game until winning 3 this past week. They can now officially be considered a threat in the KCAC. Now, I don't know if I would call them a threat in the KCAC, but they're definitely not last. And that's saying something for a program that has a first-year college coaching staff and a new one altogether, and has been winless the last couple of seasons, the last season that they have played. I think they actually played 2 seasons ago. I could be wrong, but regardless, they're in a good spot here. Shyla Barrios, I said this last year. You could check the evidence. I said that I really liked her game, and put in the right system, she could be very good, and she has proven to be very good. Has made some big plays. And Graceland, undefeated right now. Now it is against some teams in Cottey and Bethel, but wins are wins, and so you could at least put them over those squads, and I think they'll take that right now. We'll see how they do moving forward, but you got to feel good about where they're at. So there you go. Now at 12 is Life here. I don't believe Life played this week, so there you go. At 11 is Campbellsville, who actually stays in the same spot here despite going 1-1 this weekend. This is what Kodey had to say about Campbellsville. He said this Campbellsville team looks to be better than last season, but have to land on a quarterback or find a different approach for the carousel. The coaches and us are definitely waiting to see who shines brightest and then roll with that. Gino has this to say about Campbellsville. Campbellsville lands just outside my top 10 after that loss to Milligan. Still a very promising team top to bottom, though. And I would agree with what Gino and both Kodey had to say here. I thought going into this weekend, they looked very, very composed and looked good. For the most part. I think there were a lot of teams in their first games, especially this season, that just looked rusty, that did not look put together. Campbellsville did mostly look put together outside of the quarterback controversy, which, let me just talk about it right now here. I think they know this as well, but you can't play 3 quarterbacks and expect to consistently win. Now, I will throw this out there as well. I think all 3 quarterbacks looked good and had their flashes. If they all started a full game, maybe you could find out a little bit more, but those are games, so you also don't want to risk losing as well here. So, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what happens with them. They have a situation over there that I think a lot of other programs are going through as well, just not having an established quarterback yet. But I think once they do find an established quarterback, then they'll really get rolling from here on out. But it's only week 1, there's plenty of time. Now, moving on into our top 10, we have Baker, who actually drops a spot here, and it's more so because the team is rising more than them falling. This is what Gino had to say about Baker. Things are starting to come together for the Wildcats as they had some dominant wins this past week, talking about William Woods, and then they also beat Southwestern by a lot. Kodey had this to say about Baker: nice bounce back games for Baker, who just need to continue to gel and gain experience, which I agree. Tara Lorente played very well this week here. She's continuing to grow and get better. I'm just going to throw this out there. I love Sanaya Waller at utility. I think she's a great player. She gives them a dimension that could beat a lot of teams, at least offensively, could beat a lot of teams. And so look out for Baker. They're putting it together. They will probably continue to rise in the next couple weeks here, as there are teams ahead of them that they'll play soon. So there you go. At 9 is Midland, who I don't believe played this week here, but do move down because a team moved up here. Now the team moving up is at 8, and that is Milligan, who has moved up 2 spots. This is what Kodey had to say about Milligan. He said, big win over Campbellsville with athletes making the right plays, has Milligan still undefeated. Gino had this to say about Milligan: a dominating win over Campbellsville has Milligan climbing all the way into the top 8 for the first time in program history. Which, yeah, gotta agree, that is absolutely huge here. Milligan, look, they played a Campbellsville team who, like I said, was very put together, did not have a set quarterback, but still put together, and they played well. I thought Bridget Keiser was a Playmaker of the Week contender this week because she looked really sharp out there. She looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. And then throw in the Playmakers: Ashton Weirley, a top 2-way athlete in the entire country, Krista Quinn, Bethany Stevens, Sarah Rancorn, all of them played well this weekend here. And moving forward, look out for Milligan. They are a very deep squad as well. They're well coached here. Looks like, and I said this in the recaps, it looks like all of them took a pretty significant step forward as far as developing their game goes, from athletes to coaches, and that's a good thing. I don't think this is where they're going to peak, or hopefully not it's where they're going to peak, but I think right now, and actually let's just go ahead and look at their schedule, they are going to have the opportunity to hit a pretty serious win streak here, starting with Huntington College and Campbellsville. Again, they're hosting Campbellsville this time in Tennessee instead of playing them in Georgia. That'll be an interesting one, so that rematch should be good, I think. And then they play Life, Bryan and Stratton, Reinhardt, Emmanuel, Siena Heights, William Woods at the end of the month, which will be really interesting. And then a couple more games after that. There's a lot of teams here that they could beat. And, they could break some records, make some noise. It's hard to argue with a team who continues to win. So keep an eye out on Milligan because they are winning. So there you go. At 8. Now, at 7 is Weber, who does drop a slight spot here. 1 spot, that is. This is what Gino had to say about Weber here. He said, Riley Bolser being out for the season is a huge blow. I still like Weber in the top 7 until they lose to a team below them, though. So, fair. Kodey had this to say about Weber: still undefeated despite letting FMU hang around for a little bit, but good teams take care of business, and that's what they did, which I agree with. They did let FMU hang around. Them being down by a point, at half, is concerning. But if you look at the context of it, they also had an opportunity to retake the lead with over 2 minutes left. They just didn't. And then they had a dominant second half where they didn't allow them to score, and they scored a lot. So can't be mad at that. Moving on here, though, at 6 is Kansas Wesleyan, who does slide up a spot. Gino had this to say about K-Dub. He said they started to come on in the 4th quarter against Ottawa, but I'm still a bit worried about the Coyotes' defense against the top dogs, top teams. Kodey had this to say: KW and Ottawa games almost feel like a nightmare they never get to wake up from, and so many of these receivers have got to lock in if they want a national championship. That's not the silver bracket. Shout out for when they were really clicking in their other games, however. And I gotta agree here. Now, here's the thing. Kansas Wesleyan still was within a score of Ottawa at the end of the day. I mean, only lost 26-18, and that's not that bad. I mean, they're playing the top team in the country and only losing by a score. It's not that bad. But what you need is for your playmakers to stay consistent, because I mean, all of these receivers, they make great plays against pretty much any other team, and then they play Ottawa and the drops start happening, right? And there were a couple drives, especially early on, those first 2 drives, that probably costed them scores because of the drops. And even then, they only lost by a touchdown. And so I think you could still feel good about Kansas Wesleyan. It kind of sucks that the only top team that they play, top 8 team that they play this season in the regular season, will be Ottawa. But, it is what it is. And they won't play them until the end of the season. And until then, they should probably be going on a hot streak here, as is shown by their performance against William Woods. Also, shout out Addie Kedwell, getting her first career receiving touchdown. So, there you go. But moving on here, let's go to number 5, our top 5 here, actually, to start. At 5 is St. Thomas, who moves down a spot. Gino had this to say about St. Thomas here. He says, despite the score in the Keiser game, St. Thomas still has got a lot of talent, especially on defense. Brooke Bogatz is a very solid option at QB as well. Kodey had this to say about St. Thomas: tough loss to Keiser, but a gutsy win over Warner helps St. Thomas pop up a little bit here, which was last week, but still, a win is a win. Yeah, I mean, St. Thomas right now is a top 5 team. They are on the fringes, though. We will say that. I think that is obvious about their position right now. Hopefully, Brooke Bogatz could figure it out. I mean, Keiser is a tough team to play, both on offense, all around. Offense, defense, special teams. They're going to challenge you here. And St. Thomas just couldn't quite get points on the board, which is what mattered at the end of the day. But Brooke Bogatz, she looked more comfortable this week regardless of the tough loss here. And, they made some plays, and so we'll see what happens for them moving forward. But you can't be completely down on St. Thomas. Give them some time here. Now, at 4 is Warner, who does move up a spot, despite their loss to Keiser. This is what Gino said: tough loss to Keiser, plus it looks like that QB position is still a bit of a question mark. Warner is gonna Warner. So, there you go. Kodey had this to say about Warner here, who he personally has at 5. The QB situation is looking a little suspect, but with the talent they have everywhere else, I'm not quite ready to write this team off. And I'm not either ready to write this team off here. Look, they're not, I would say the contenders, that's the hunting pack, right? They're not outside of the hunting pack just yet. They are probably closer to dark horse. I mean, they're going to win a lot of playoff games, right? But can they contend, get to the semis, maybe national championship? I don't know. We'll see. Jenna Marrero is also getting thrown into the mix here, so they have I would probably say officially 3 quarterback controversy, but I think Jenna Marrero will probably always serve as their utility quarterback, double pass player, and that's not a bad thing. She has that in her bag. That adds versatility. But they just need better quarterback play than what they've been getting for them to be beating some of these top teams. And I think they're capable of that. But it's going to take some time. We'll see what happens. And it's all hands on deck when they do. And this is off the record. I guess not on the notes that were given to me, but we all discussed how much better this Warner defense looks this season, and they are a good defense here. And they only lost by two scores to Keiser, which is not bad at all. So there you go there. That's Warner, but for now they stay at 4. Now our top 3 stays the same at 3 Thomas, 2 Keiser, 1 Ottawa. All these teams have been undefeated and have been dominant for the most part this season. Let's go ahead and start with Thomas, and let's go with Kodey. He just says undefeated. Gino says they've given up 6 points in 4 games. Their first real test comes Thursday against a sprouting Milligan squad. So that'll be interesting. Also, actually, it's not this Thursday, it's next Thursday. I was confused at first. They do not play this week, so there you go. But yeah, Thomas, they're dominating. They're winning a lot, you know. It's probably going to take one of these other teams to lose for them to rise, and they'll play Keiser here soon, so there's that. But kind of looking at Ottawa here, so there you go. Now, at 2 is Keiser. Kodey had this to say about Keiser. He said 2 huge wins against some of their best competition in the Sun Conference means something, and I think that they still have potential to only get better, which I agree with. Gino had this to say about Keiser. Big wins over Warner. St. Thomas has the Seahawks banging on the door for that one spot, and I gotta agree with that. You know, them beating St. Thomas and Warner, it does weigh a bit more than Ottawa, you know, beating Kansas Wesleyan by a score, right? But, you know, Ottawa's the national champs. They're going to stay at number 1 for now. It's just hard to move them down. We'll see, though. But we see Keiser. You know, Haley Young is playing great football. This team is rolling. Defense is rolling. Offense is rolling. And, you know, if they continue to take care of business, it might be difficult to just keep them at 2. But for now, at number 1 is Ottawa. This is what Kodey had to say about them. They stay rolling. Gino had to say this K-Dub game ended up being closer than what we initially expected, but Ottawa dominated most of the game anyways. And I kind of agree with that. Despite it being a one-score game, Ottawa did dominate, it felt like, the majority of this game. Like, it wasn't really a question until the end if Ottawa was going to win this one. And, you know, it just happened that Kansas Wesleyan was able to put together some solid drives. Ottawa, you know, was maybe a little bit more conservative, didn't go for it, approaching midfield as much, and I think that's saying something, right? But this team looks good. I don't think there is a doubt that they cannot beat anybody else in the country, either once or twice. You know, they have so many weapons here. Addie Osborne, she's been getting a lot of playing time, which is kind of rare. I feel like in the past, she has been kind of eased into it, and then her usage really picks up at the end of the season. But right now, she's arguably been one of the best, if not the best, utility player in the entire country. As well as everyone else, you know, doing their job, too. I don't think that's that crazy to say. So, there you go. But finally, our rankings after week 2 goes at 22 Florida Memorial, 21 St. Mary, 20 Bethel, 19 Cottey, 18 Southwestern, 17 Siena Heights. Tied at 15 is Reinhardt and William Woods, 14 Point, 13 Graceland, 12 Life, 11 Campbellsville, 10 Baker, 9 Midland, 8 Milligan, 7 Weber, 6 Kansas Wesleyan, 5 St. Thomas, 4 Warner, 3 Thomas, 2 Keiser, and at number 1 still is Ottawa. All right, and that'll do it for another episode of the Playmaker's Corner podcast, and another long one, so thank you so much for rocking with us. If you are, you know, I mean, if you're listening to us at the end here, you already know you're not going to find better coverage of women's college flag football than right here on the Playmaker's Corner podcast. And if you do, hey, reach out to them. Let's collaborate. Let's do something. That would be really fun, actually. So there you go. But right now, we are putting in that work, covering NAIA flag football, JUCO, D2, D3, HBCU a little bit as well, D1. Really, it's just Alabama State. But we're going to do our best. If we missed a team, a college game or a college team that played some games that is not a club team, make sure to let us know, and we'll try to add them to our coverage here. But we are doing our best, and it's been really fun to be able to cover all of it. Shout out Florida Gateway. It was really fun to watch them and their playmakers here in the regular season. Have obviously watched their national championship games, but just seeing them in action against NAIA teams is different, and so I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch. So there you go. Make sure you follow us on social media and show some love at Playmakers Corner, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X, YouTube. Like, you know, give us some comments as well. We appreciate all of that. We try to interact with our community. But until then, we will catch you next week.